So we can do what's handle on the mic from Leo's Paradise. Random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channel's faceting, Zoro sword swings. Game and pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting clutch screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping 5 videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Playing a knob, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. The rails, no script, just a freestyle rhyme. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the lunch hour. How are all you vital idols doing? It has been a minute, and by minute it's been a nice solid 24 hours. But in that 24 hours, I hope you guys have had a great time. And now, you know what? It's Thursday. We almost there. We almost the end of the week, baby. We got today. We got tomorrow. And then it's smooth sailing on into the weekend. So let's spend a good time here on the lunch hour and figure out what's going on. You know, what's going on in the news. We got South Park and Charlie Kirk and the shit lives big mad that he's not upset spaghetti. They're gonna be making fun of him. We got some Asmongold reactions. We got some collective shout news. We got all sorts of stuff honestly been put in the Discord. I see Bushman Faden and Sleepy Nova in the house. Hail, how are you two beautiful bastards doing? And you know what? Let's just get into it. First things first. I'm gonna start this off a little bit light with the collective shout stuff because there isn't really much to add to the discourse, much to add to the conversation. However, they're blaming Elon Musk and then went private on X, and I do find that funny. Collective Shout claims on LinkedIn that Elon Musk has put them at greater risk. Elon Musk's actions have put us at greater risk. Movement director MTR in the Australian. I'm not. Oh, the Australian maybe is a trade, a newspaper, something like that. Okay, so Elon Musk's actions have put us at greater risk. Movement director MTR in the Australian. Collective Shout found that Melinda Tranker reset her group will not be silenced by gamers' threats or abuse. Oh, let's see. I bet you will. I'll be real. I bet you will. Let's see whose will is stronger. Gamers or Republican right-wing fascist feminist bitches. Like, I have a feeling eventually you guys will be silenced. Predictably, misogynist gamers have come out in full force in defense of their access to rape, incest, and child abuse games. Prove it. They have unleashed a torrent of abuse and threats of violence against the women on our team. Once again, prove it. No, I don't know who needs to tell these bitches this, but just telling you you're retarded and to get off the internet because you're retarded ain't abuse. And it's certainly not threat of violence. It's just sort of a reality check. Across multiple platforms and via email to individual staff members, these men have threatened to rape and kill us, send us porn, child sexual abuse material, photos of our faces, call us cunts and rape meat, encourage us to kill ourselves, threaten to make rape porn using our images, and hunt down our addresses. Guys, I'll be real. I don't think any of this has happened. I don't think any of this has happened. Like, call it a sneaking suspicion when uploading to the city, but I don't think any of this has actually happened. Like, the idea, dude, first of all, Australia don't got free speech. So, and these women are Australian. So, like, I'm sure that definitely none of their own, like Australian people have sent, been threatened to send rape and porn and whatnot. Also, the idea, this is the funny part to me. the idea that they're trying to claim that gamers would threaten to send them child sexual abuse material means that they are implying that a bunch of gamers are already actual pedos and just have this material lying around to fucking send to collective shout. That is the funny thing. Like the idea that they're like, they've said they're going to send us child sexual abuse material. No, they haven't. But if they have, you're taking it seriously. That means you just assume all gamers are pedos. Like, that's funny shit to me. Post a face our videos and call us cunts. Yeah, and? You guys are cunts. You live in Australia. Cunt is a normal fucking term in Australia. Like, that's the funny thing. Like, all the rest of the stuff is extreme. You know, child sexual abuse material, threaten to rape and kill us. But then, like, post the photos of our faces and call us cunts. Well, fucking yeah. You're Australian. And you're cunts. It's that simple. Like, and rape meat. Trust me. We've looked at the pictures of these bitches that run Collective Shout. Absolutely nobody been calling you rape meat. Like, first of all, nobody's calling you rape meat in general because that's not how gamers talk. I don't, like, it's so weird to hear these dumb Australian bitches, like, think that this is how gamers talk. They're using like, all the worst possible lingo. But let me tell you, gamers are way more creative with their nasty trash talk. But even so, even if gamers did talk like that, like, we have looked at you broads. You are not rape meat. You're not even a rape appetizer. Like, let's be honest, it's kind of sad. Encourage us to kill ourselves, threaten to make rape porn using our images, and hunt down our addresses. Okay, for one, let's not pretend like you guys don't have a bunch of addresses and shit like that. You're all tied to the government. But that being said, threaten to make rape porn using our images. Literally none of that has happened. Literally none of that has happened. You want to know how we know none of that has happened? Because this is a posted screenshot instead of any with no proof, no other screenshots, no links, nothing. They say shit. So yeah. Collective Shout is using the same strategy. Just say every terrible, horrible thing in the book with no proof, but the words should be inflammatory enough to get people talking. What up, Killer Games Cast? However, they go on to say, mistaken reason Mr. Musk was amplifying the worldwide abuse by reposting the Change.org petition against us. Now they're trying to take Elon Musk's free speech as well. It was bad enough. It was bad enough when, gamers were like, yeah, you know what, fuck these broads. But then Elon Musk retweeted it and they're like, oh, fuck. Like, now they want to take Elon Musk, which again, he's just a dude. He has all the same freedoms as we have, or should have all the same freedoms as we have at least. Musk's reactions have fueled threats of violence, harassment, and digital abuse for all of our all-female team across all our platforms to force us to take extra measures of personal safety, she said. All-female team? That sounds pretty fucking discriminatory, I'm just saying. It's like Step Brothers. I seriously thought he was going to rape me. He looked at me and said, let's get it on. I remember when people had... Yeah, I do remember when people had a sense of humor. Absolutely. But also, yeah, notice, our all-female team... That sounds like a your guys' problem. That sounds like a your business has shitty employees problem. Like, you can't sit there and be like, Elon Musk caused so much abuse because he fucking retweeted the fact that people don't like you. Maybe you guys should start by making yourselves more likable and not... but here's the best part. Here's the reason I bring all this up, right? Go to Collective Shout's actual page. Oh, when did this happen? When did this happen? They went protected. Ooh. So yeah, like I said, we don't have much to say on the Collective Shout stuff on the Collective Shout front today. However, I just thought it was pretty interesting that they went post protected after getting called out by Elon Musk and making this fake story. And no, half of them are not dudes in wigs. This is a right wing feminist group. They don't want dudes in wigs. So yeah, no, that is incorrect. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this because this is probably the key story for the day, and it's a pretty long video, so we'll be on it for a while. The internet is in danger, and in the U.S. too. This was put in the Discord. The real goal is digital ID. Absolutely. That is, I mean, it's one of the real goals. There's multiple real goals, but that is one of them, yes. This was popped in the Discord yesterday. I will go ahead and react to it today. I didn't get to see it yesterday because it was put in there like literally while I was live, so I hadn't noticed it, but we will react to it today. Let's see. Who put this in the Discord? I think it was, let's see, Garrett Targaryen. All right, Garrett Targaryen. Let's go ahead and get this taken care of. Let's see what's going down in this here town. Really, I know the story, but just in case you don't as well.
Who looks at all the backlash the UK is getting for basically the same thing and decides now is the ample time to try this bill.
Hold on. Look, I appreciate that you guys are all on the collective shout, the list of let's take them down, let's talk shit, whatnot. But you can't just make claims like collective shout means nothing. It's BlackRock as usual. Look, there's clearly somebody. Like, yes, collective shout is the puppet, not the puppet master, obviously. But you can't just make claims that it's like, for example, BlackRock or whatnot without any sort of proof, because that then, if that ends up not being true, it makes our movement and makes what we're doing and whatnot look fucking stupid. So, like, unless you can show me proof it's BlackRock, you can just, I at least would not say it in definitive fashion, such as the way you did. That again, it sounds very conspiratorial, jump to conclusions. It sounds retarded unless you have proof. Now, is there somebody backing them? Yes, obviously, absolutely. But to just say that it's BlackRock when we don't actually know who it is, when it could be any number of folks, is foolish. Because it shows that there's a one-track mind there. Anyway, all right, let's get into this.
Who looks at all the backlash the UK is getting for basically the same thing and decides now is the ample time to try this bill again. Charlie made a video on it, did he? Let me see if I can watch it.
If I asked you to give me your ID to watch this video, provide some form of identification, what would you tell me?
No.
I hope your answer would be a resounding no, telling me to go eat dirt. Because that's not just like some kind of innocent, annoying question. That's legitimately just an assault on your freedom. It's an extreme...
Oh, good. Look at that. Charlie actually has a W take for once, because let's be real. Charlie has a lot of L takes. Dude has a lot of L takes. So, yeah, the idea that he actually knows this is an assault on freedom, impressive. Good for him. What do you mean their actions for 10 years? Your government. You realize there are so many more these, let's say, DEI companies besides BlackRock, right? BlackRock is not the only one. Like, yes, obviously they are a DEI investment firm, but so is State Street and Raytheon and I mean there's several others. Off the top of my head, there's only two I can think of, but there's like 10 really well known ones or 5 really well known ones. Vanguard, thank you, Sir Noble. That's another one. Vanguard is a huge one. Yeah, BlackRock, State Street, Raytheon, Vanguard. TPG Capital. So yes, my point is, and also, there's no proof whatsoever that one of these DEI firms is tied to collective shout. In fact, they probably are not, because again, these DEI firms such as Vanguard, Raytheon, BlackRock are all left-leaning. Collective shout is a right-wing group. So yeah, I actually doubt it has anything to do with any of them. Again, there's somebody pulling the strings there. Some sort of government organization, some sort of corporation, something like that. I actually doubt it's one of those DEI firms because they go against that sort of stuff. Collective Shout is anti-DEI. They're anti-real women, in fact. They're anti-men. Like, Raytheon needs to pay to solve homelessness in the U.S., give all the extra money to us for the weapons contracts they get. A fraction of the money can be used to solve homelessness. No. That's entirely wrong. No company should just pay to solve homelessness, because throwing money at problems doesn't work. If that was the case, California would have solved it years ago, because their budget towards homeless people has increased every year, year over year, and yet they still got a homeless problem. So no, just throwing money at them does not save it. Collective Shout is at least crack rock. There we go. Also, what up, Paul Byersmith? How you doing? And then, will I buy DPN? I don't know what DPN is. At least not by that acronym.
Extremely scary.
What up, Kalika?
Concerning direction the online space is heading. No longer is this just the wacky wild west of the World Wide Web, where Timmy Turner once surfed on an email and Fairly Odd Parents. Now,
it's a different time.
It is actively being censored.
Different.
We're seeing that happen a lot. Censorship is spiraling, especially...
Alright, hold on. This is not true. Literal City, this is not true. There is no right-wing versus left-wing party. It's oligarchs versus commoners. That is not true in entirety. Like, obviously, there are aspects of that that's true. Yes. However, if you've got multiple, let's say high-up individuals that have opposite interests, those interests don't align, then they because of their ideologies, left wing, right wing, whatnot. It's not inherently just all oligarchs versus all commoners. Now, again, is there a lot of that? Sure, absolutely, but that is not the only. You can't just simplify it like that. There's clearly, and if it is that simple, if you do know all about it, if it is all so easy to figure out, whatnot, what have you done about it? Nothing. Because again, because you don't actually know. None of us do. We've got our theories. We've absolutely got our theories. We've got evidence to back up many of those theories as well. But some stuff is as simple as right versus left. Other stuff goes a bit deeper. Other stuff has far more than just two parties, far more than just oligarchs versus commoners. Like, you can't just boil it down to something that simple because it does not play out in the real world like that. Real life isn't black and white. Yes, keep money out of NGOs and you'll solve homelessness. I mean, change culture and you'll solve homelessness. I don't know. What's Japan's homelessness rate? Compare Japan's homelessness rate to ours. I bet it's notably lower. Why? Because it's a cultural thing. Japan has a bunch of government corruption, just like America does. I don't think it has anything to do with NGOs. I think it has to do with a culture and value system. I mean, I'm sure NGOs and whatnot have a little bit of a play in it. Absolutely. Where money goes and whatnot has a little bit of a play. But I think culture is far more important than like where the money's going. Also, what up, Genty Maxi?
In video games, with Collective Shout getting Steam and
It's going to get a lot worse. It is. It's going to get a lot worse, especially whenever people like this realize they can make a change.
Two separate platforms to remove hundreds and hundreds of games that they deemed highly harmful and, deplorable. So they had the Visa and MasterCard come forward, threaten to pull out of them and bully them into submission. They got them in the fucking headlock. So then they just went belly up and played ball, removing all of these titles, which, by the way...
I am not surprised in the... Oh, okay. He was talking about Steam and whatnot went belly up. My bad. Okay, continue.
Was not just freaky gooner games. In itch.io's case...
NGOs are more rotten than corporations. Netflix foreign, more rotten. Like, corporations are at least, I don't know, honest, but more honest by comparison about, how shitty they are. NGOs lie to your face claiming they're not government organizations, when NGO really just means loophole for government people to make money. They are all government organizations because they all have ties to government organizations.
As people have learned over the last few days, tons and tons of games have been de-indexed that didn't have...
Well, it creates a chilling effect, and this is the problem, is that as soon as companies realize and these platforms realize that they could lose their payment processing opportunities, they will be overzealous in removing games ahead of time so they don't accidentally get in trouble. And that's really what the problem is.
That is exactly what we saw happen to itch.io. So yeah, he is entirely correct. You're going to have these people that like the Steam, itch.io, maybe even, I don't know about GOG because they're older games, but I've never really looked to see if GOG offers NSFW stuff, but really any platform for hosting games with a payment option is now just going to preemptively, maybe not even allow the NSFW. Yeah, no, Asmongold is entirely correct.
Any porn in them at all. So it wasn't just like rape and incest weirdo games. It was any game or mini games included that are just darker themes that have more like
and
adult...
then also, like, here's the other component to it that I don't think anybody's talking about, is that maybe Collective Shout isn't going after all NSFW games, and they don't want all porn games banned. They only want the ones banned that are negative or detrimental to women from their point of view. But what happens whenever another advocacy group that's like Collective Shout wants all of them banned? And then...
I mean, I don't know about nobody's pointing that out. I've pointed that out, but maybe that's just me.
They email MasterCard, and then the same thing happens then. You see what I'm saying? So, like, even if you solve this problem and you address this one specifically, if it happens once, it'll happen again. They defend it.
He is entirely correct. Entirely correct.
I saw that. It's the same argument against more internet regulation.
Yeah, Genty Maxi, they were going after all porn. They were going after racy ads. Yeah, you are entirely correct.
Well, I don't know necessarily if it is. I think it depends on what it is. But I think that government government behavior and private company behavior shouldn't be graded on the same scale. You can't really make a one-to-one comparison in a lot of cases.
Themes in them with no like sexual content. It's absurd, and it's something everyone could have seen coming. Anyone with a functioning frontal lobe could tell you that censorship is not something to be celebrated.
No.
When you try and target low-hanging fruit, something easy like
and I think also like censorship in some cases are things like we all agree with, right? Like you know, like CSAM, like any.
By the way, anyone that says they're 100% against censorship is lying to you. Everybody is pro-censorship in some regard, which is A-okay, because most people don't understand what censorship actually means. Censorship is just like, here, let me pull up the actual definition of censorship for you guys, because you want to know what? I'm pro-censorship. You want to know what I'm pro-censoring? Pornography in public schools. Elementary schools shouldn't have access to books like genderqueer and whatnot. So and that is by definition type of censorship. Censorship is the suppression or prohibition of any parts of books, films, news, etc. that are considered obscene, politically unacceptable, or a threat to security. So the prohibition of genderqueer in children's schools would be a type of censorship. Guess what? I am absolutely pro the banning of books like genderqueer in children's schools. Like anyone that says they're not pro censorship is either lying or hasn't thought through enough. The difference is what sort of censorship is right for the average public individual that is of the age of 18. And the answer to that is 0.
Like child sexual abuse stuff, like, yeah, get rid of that. Censor that.
What up, Sean Noir?
Get rid of, doxing, stuff like that. Censor that for sure. But the problem is that this is the real issue. It's that these people want to make their opinions the law. And they don't want to change.
Well, I mean, again, these people do want that. The question becomes, are they too stupid to realize they're being used? There's the puppet for some other puppet master. You aren't presenting art to children, are you though, Leon? I mean, works like David. I didn't say art. I would not consider something like genderqueer art. Again, I use genderqueer as an example for a very specific reason. If that doesn't answer the question, I don't really know what to say.
The law. They want to have their opinions, enforce them as if they are the law, but not actually pass a law. That's the issue. And that's what they're doing.
Disgusting porn games that are all about like incest and shit. You'll get a lot of clapping seals like, yippee, you saved us. But what they don't realize is it doesn't stop there. That is just the beginning. That just opens the door. So that way they can censor even more.
I mean, we have verifiable proof that it doesn't stop there. All these fucking left-wing lunatics on Blue Sky that wanted, us chuds, our opinions censored and whatnot, started rallying behind the same shit we've been saying for 10 years once they realized their NSFW homo games were getting banned. Like, they thought for sure, oh, censorship is good, it'll only affect the right wing, it'll only affect the chuds, it'll only affect the gooners or whatever, and then it came after their shit. Yeah, Charlie's entirely correct.
It is absurd and out of control, but I'm going off on a tangent. The point is, the internet is under attack in a large way across the board, not just in gaming. I'm sure all of you have seen what's happening in the UK right now with their Online Safety Act, where now to access a myriad of content, you need to provide your identification.
Wow.
Let me be clear about this, guys. This is not about censorship. This is not about online safety. Well, okay, so it is about censorship, but to a lesser degree. This is not about censorship to the main degree. This is not about child safety. This is about control. This is about weaponizing your own freedom against you by giving you the illusion of like, look, you're free to do this. You're free to go on these censored websites. We just need to put these safety measures in place so that children don't have access to it. And they're still giving you this illusion of freedom, being like, you're still free to do it. There's just a few extra safeguards because think of the children. Like, this is absolutely weaponization of a pseudo freedom, like to gain more control. That is what this is.
That's not acceptable. Just like we were all taught growing up, never take candy from a stranger, don't talk to strangers, say no to that kind of shit. You should also be taught to say no to this too. Mm-hmm. You should not be providing your ID willy-nilly online. That is not something...
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. And also, like, the way that they need to do it, if they want to do this, this has to be like a government check system that is done by a encrypted government third party.
Yeah, because the government's never taken and used and abused all of our personal information before. Fucking L-take. Fucking L-take. The government should have no goddamn say in this. Parents should have say in this in terms of, like, what sites their kids can and cannot access. Put parental locks on phones. Put parental locks on certain, apps and whatnot, which nearly all of them can do now. You'll be able to put a parental lock on Netflix. It's like fucking 2010 or some shit. No, this should not be a government. You want to know who I'm okay with giving my app, my ID to? I'll tell you guys who I'm okay with giving my ID to. There's an app out there called Turo. What's Turo? Turo is basically Uber or Airbnb, but for renting cars. Instead of going to one of the big car rental places like Enterprise or whatever, you put your you just basically rent somebody else's car, like some private citizen they own. It is literally Airbnb for renting cars. I use it all the time when I travel. Why am I okay with putting my ID in that? Well, because you need to prove you have a fucking driver's license to be able to drive their nice, expensive-ass cars that you're renting. So, yeah, I'm okay. Like, are they using that ID information and sending it to the government? I mean, let's be real. Probably. All these fucking apps are. But that being said, like, you legally need a license to drive a car. You need proof of that. Imagine, try getting pulled over without a license. Trust me. Been there. Shit ain't fun. So, yeah, like, I'm A-okay with putting it in some private app or whatnot that just show, hey, you've got... And I shouldn't even say I'm okay with it. I don't like it, but I understand it because I'm not giving it to the fucking government. Again, it's a state-issued ID. The government has that information anyway. It's an unfortunate truth.
So you don't have something like the T-app leak happen. That's the big issue. Is that, like, and also other countries have done this. Like, for example,
it is
China
not the
does
government's
this.
job, Chill Noir, not at all.
I don't think that's a great example of, like, how we should do things, but they're able to do it. And also, South Korea does it. South Korea does the same thing. So it's not like this is some impossible thing that they can't figure out. It's that I don't want an individual company doing this. If you want to make an...
But okay, he says there's one individual company doing this, but says he's okay with the government doing it. Like, that's far scarier because the government is the one that's proposing these bills.
ID system, it has to be a universal government ID system that has accountability to the public. You can't just have all these random companies asking you for your driver's license constantly.
Something that should just be loosey-goosey, no care in the world. Oh, here's all my...
To be fair, you can have these random companies asking for this stuff willy-nilly. You absolutely can. They're a private business. They can ask for it. You can opt not to show your ID. You can opt not to use their services. The problem is governments mandating that these corporations, these companies, and these apps and whatnot provide your ID. That's far worse. The government mandating that you show your ID is fucking far worse than these governments doing it, or these companies doing it, and you having the option to say, you know what, then fuck it. I'm not going to use Facebook, or I'm not going to use X, or anything like that.
Personal identification here, yeah, take it. That way I can access fucking Wikipedia. By the way, Wikipedia is actually affected by this. Now, in some cases, it's not providing an ID. It's instead providing your face. It will scan your face, so you're giving them your biometric data in that case. Again, big time no-no.
Again, I have no problem doing this when I'm signing up for a driver's license or I'm signing up for something like that. But I do have a big problem doing this.
I have a problem doing it when signing up for a driver's license. I don't think you should need a goddamn driver's license. But again, I'm libertarian as fuck, if not anarchist. I don't believe in driver's licenses at all because I don't believe the government should tell you what you can and can't do. Again, that's just me. The point is, I'm against that. However, there's no good goddamn way that it's ever going away. Like, the government's never just going to be like, you know what, we're done with driver's license. We're done with fishing license. Shit like that. So, it is what it is. I won't lie, guys. I've never had a fishing license. Every time I've gone fishing, which has been a lot in my life, believe it or not, I know I don't look like the type of guy that steps out of my dank, dark bedroom, but I am. Anytime I've gone fishing, you want to know what I've never fucking done? Fish with a fishing license. I just fish and hope to not get fucking caught.
When I'm signing up for a social media website and I'm giving it to the social media website directly. Hell no. Well, yeah, it's awful. Like, I mean, we can't be giving this shit away to private companies like this all the time. Yeah, legal documents, yes, but not social media. Exactly. like registering to vote. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to give your data away for, and that's fine. But the difference is that these are governments. And this is kind of what I was saying before. Do you see kind of like this apparatus that's being created where these online companies are creating basically a government? They're creating a government on the internet. They're creating a government on the internet.
It's not they're creating a government on the internet. It's that the government has always been on the internet, and now they are so bold and brazen, they're announcing their presence, doing the same thing they always want to do, take control, because the internet was one of the true last bastions of freedom.
With no accountability, no democracy, no representation, and
I am
no
that person,
way of
AJ. I
stopping
am
it.
that person.
That's the issue. Tracking data versus selling data is different. Yeah.
Paul Wise versus Leon just announcing his illegal activities in the bid 2025. Prove it. Like I could say all day long, yeah, no, I go fishing without a license. Prove that I did it, though. Prove that I'm not just talking shit on the internet. Good luck. Like, nah, I wouldn't stand up. Yeah, no. Fuck a fishing license.
Yeah. Like this information should never go to a third party for-profit company.
I know what the reason, I know what the license are for and what the reason is for, Ginty Maxi. Doesn't alter the fact that fuck it, I don't care. Fuck the government. They should not have to give you a license for whether or not you're going hunting fish. Fuck that.
Be the one to come in here and teach you why privacy is important, but I hope somebody has. This is not
if you play PlayStation, you know that.
Good thing. So in some of these processes, it's not always required.
They should not,
to give
Clico,
your
you're
full
correct.
ID and your like fucking
Fuck the
credit
fish.
card statements or anything. Instead, some may ask to like scan your face and everything.
Yeah.
Also, still frowned upon. You still shouldn't do that either. This bill was paraded around like it was some righteous, legislation that was aimed at protecting kids from accessing harmful content.
And that's the way they do it. Like if any of, I imagine all y'all in the chat see through this because you're watching me, so that means you're based and you're intelligent for the most part. But if for some reason you don't know this, or if for some reason you've never seen this before, because this has been done a myriad of times. Anytime the government wants to pass some sort of insanely intrusive bill, they always make it about children. Like, net neutrality tried this in 2010, and then when it failed and net neutrality didn't go through, they tried it again in 2011, tying it to the Child Pornography Safety Act or something like that of 2011. I have to look up the exact name of the bill, but basically net neutrality 2.0 it was basically net neutrality, but they slipped in all those protections and whatnot under the Child Pornography Safety Act of 2011 or whatever the fuck it was. Like, anytime they want to pass some sort of intrusive bill that violates all over your rights, they make it about child safety, because what sort of monster would be against the safety of children? Like, it's literally their fucking cheat code.
Online, specifically.
Right.
Yeah, national security was another big one.
I'm
Yup.
sure a lot of you,
Patriot
if you've
Act.
got your
Yup.
thinking caps on, if you're activating
Surely now all the kids are going to stop looking at porn. We're just going to do this new law, and then all the kids won't see any more porn. It's going to go away. Problem solved.
neurons can probably recognize a pattern since basically the beginning of time, the beginning of the internet here.
I don't know if y'all heard this or not, but in the UK, look, I very rarely say things about my brothers across the pond, but I'll say something positive about you right now. In the UK, they found a way to skirt the system. I don't know if it still works or not, but it was working a few days ago. There were several reports of people using Norman Reedus' face in Death Stranding 2 because it was so realistic that these applications and whatnot that required Face ID, like for the AI to verify your age, they were just showing them Norman Reedus from Death Stranding 2, and the AI was fucking accepting it. That is incredible.
Where porn is always used as this ultimate boogeyman. It's the galactic.
Yeah, it's the really bad one. And in my opinion, I don't even think porn is the bad one. It's grooming that's the bad one. This person brings up a great point. LinkedIn uses a government vendor Clear. This is, I'm assuming this is the same Clear that you use in the airport too, in order to verify someone's identity. LinkedIn does not get the info specifically. Yes, exactly.
I have trouble believing that. They might say they don't get the info specifically. I have trouble believing that. All these people want your data for a myriad of reasons, not just for control and to take your freedoms and whatnot, because if they've got your data, it's easier to sell you targeted advertisements.
this is reasonable. This is reasonable, and this is something that can work. But the problem is that the companies doing it themselves, that does not work. Absolutely not. Until they get hacked, anything will get hacked. The ISPs get hacked. Your computer can get hacked. Just because something can get hacked doesn't mean that you should just do everything with no level of like security. That's silly.
This level.
See, here's the problem with just using AI to make a face, though. Sure, everybody can get around this rule and whatnot by using AI to make a face, and it turns out, haha, I skirted the system. But in all reality, they still had somebody sign up. Basically, they had, at least in the government's eyes, like, oh, look at all these people that are, go ahead and putting forth their face identification. So it shows these people under their control. We can go even further now. Like, as long as people, instead of using AI and whatnot to get around this shit, people need to go full blackout and stop using these applications, which is a lot easier said than done. But that's what needs to happen, because at the end of the day, what matters is the government sees numbers. They don't look at us as individuals. They don't look at us as people. They look at us as fucking numbers, like cattle. So if they see, 200,000 people using, accepting this identification system, it doesn't matter if they actually used fake pictures or AI pictures or whatnot, because they didn't look at us as people to begin with. All they see is 200,000 new numbers agreeing with, and signing up with their new censorship rules.
Threat that they always have to pass legislation to combat. And to people that don't want to do any thinking and would rather have all their thoughts put into their head by the government on what they should and should not support, it sounds like a nice notion. You don't want kids having access to
AJ.
harmful content like porn online. That makes sense. But the second you make like George and get a bit curious and, God forbid, get into your ponder stance and start thinking and look into these type of pushes, you will recognize the goal is not to protect kids. It's not to protect anyone.
Yeah, it's a Trojan horse. It's a moral Trojan horse where they can use to push in censor.
Moral Trojan horse is a banger statement on this. Like, that is absolutely what a moral Trojan horse. That's good.
Of political ideology, dissenting viewpoints, or anything that would challenge them in a way that they think is inconvenient.
Anything. These are called Trojan horses, where...
Alright, whatever. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
They push these through under a false pretense like this, with so many huge detrimental consequences attached to it that impede on your freedom. They use this idea of protecting kids from harmful content as a way of getting this bill across the line that has...
The Moral Trojan Horse is new. They use nice rating systems for music and movies. I've got my gripes with the rating system for movies and music and video games and whatnot. I don't inherently mind a rating system, because, I mean, it's good to know what sort of content is in these sorts of films. And really media in general. What I disagree with is the fact that there is literally no consistency whatsoever. There is no consistency. Like, Beetlejuice is the example I always go to. Beetlejuice is a movie that is rated PG. Homie grabs his dick and says, "Nice fucking model," and that's PG. Meanwhile, look at a PG movie nowadays in the year of our Lord 2025. Content heavily fucking sanitized. It is the inconsistency and the ever-shifting line of what is and isn't considered okay for insert rating criteria here.
Really bad stuff in it. There is nothing good about handing over your freedoms. No. And it's even more sad how few people even recognize it happening in front of their face. And even beyond that, even more pathetic, is the people that are happy about it, that don't mind giving away all of their personal information. This
Because
act
they will sell your personal information too. This is another component that people might not realize, is that how many of you guys have ever signed up for something or given someone your phone number, and then you start getting phone calls from random places that you have no idea, like, who is this person? Like, what is this? Yeah, exactly. Like, that's why, like, the government will too. Well, the government hasn't done that yet. Really?
Oh, Charlie, you poor sweet summer child. If you think the government hasn't sold our fucking data, I got a bridge to sell you, homie. Did I say Charlie? I meant Asmongold. My bad, Asmongold.
They don't do it very often.
Let's be real. They're pretty much the same person, except for Asmongold is usually quite a bit smarter.
And yeah, every damn time, exactly. And so, like, that's it. You have to change your number. Yeah, you have to change your phone number. It's very, very fucking annoying. When there is no product, you are the product. Well, people, they look for data, and they look for emails and phone numbers and stuff like that. And the reason why is because they sell that data and they use it as a resource. So when you sign up for, like, a free trial, it wasn't free. It cost you your phone number.
was not about protecting children from accessing porn.
Yeah.
It did not just require ID to be provided for porn sites. It was required for anything that they deemed maybe potentially opening up children to harmful content. That includes Discord features. It includes some forums. It includes Twitter.
And what is considered harmful content? Subjective bullshit that changes on the fly at the whims of these individuals because they get to make the rules. Like, what constitutes as harmful content? There's obvious stuff. Yeah, CSAM, pornography. I would absolutely say pornography is harmful to children. Yeah, I don't think anyone would argue with that. CSAM, obviously harmful. That's harmful content no matter who the fuck you are. You can make an argument that pornography is harmful no matter who the fuck you are. However, at the end of the day, when you're over the age of 18, you should be able to engage in what you want that is legal. Fucking obviously. I feel like I need to make that clarification there. But yeah, rated R movies, harmful. Fucking, look, let's be real. McDonald's is harmful to children. Should it be fucking banned? No, parents should be fucking parents.
Includes Reddit. Anything that could even be moderately argued opens them up to like adult content or harmful subjects is hit by this, requiring them to have age verification in place where you
I saw like the screenshots from the EU, and it's like you go through your profile and it's like this picture is hidden, this post is hidden, you can't see this item, this one might not comply with regulations. Like the entire fucking thing is it's like when the CIA releases documents about UFOs and it says like the date and then like the year is blacked out and then the entire screen and the entire page is blacked out, and it says at the very end it says did this, and that's it. It's all redacted. Yeah.
Provide an ID to prove you are 18 years or older in order to grant access to that. You know the whole meme of like, oi, you got a license to be breathing that air?
Yeah.
Where it's all about like how over the top the UK is with this kind of bullshit. Well, now it has become beyond parody, where you actually need a fucking license to send Discord shit. You need a license for Wikipedia articles, basically.
Which, again, I know I said earlier, and several of you guys have said it in chat since we've been talking about this, all these applications already had parental settings. All of them. Discord has them. PlayStation Network has them. Netflix has them. Like, all this shit. Reddit, I mean, it's really just an NSFW toggle, on off. But at the end of the day, has them. Fucking Steam has them. In fact, Steam's NSFW stuff is turned off from the get-go. Like, these all already existed, making these censorship rules 100% null and void. Once again, proving it is not to protect kids. It is for control, and kids are being used as the scapegoat.
Wikipedia is being hit by this, by the way.
This is inevitable. I'm going to say this. People might not want to hear it, but I think that it's true. The internet being an unregulated Wild West never could have lasted forever. And it hasn't.
I mean, I hate that he is correct, but he is correct. The days of the Wild West internet that like people like me and Paul Smith in the chat will not grow up on, depending on the age of some of you guys that you guys grew up on. Oh yeah, absolutely. Should I have been talking to people in fucking Yahoo chat rooms and AO chat rooms and whatnot at the age I was? No, I shouldn't have. Not that I have ever do anything I shouldn't have done, or anybody do anything to me I shouldn't have done. No, but that being said, there's horror stories for people that have. But at the end of the day, yeah, and I'm not agreeing with this. I'm not agreeing with the idea of it being regulated. I'm not agreeing with the idea that the internet shouldn't be the Wild West anymore. I think it absolutely should. But no, the internet has not been the Wild West for a long, long time. Now, a lot of that you can chalk up to government censorship and overreach and the removal of our freedoms. Others of it you can chalk up to dead internet theory, which I don't care what anyone says. Dead internet theory is 100% real.
It lasted. There is only the illusion of it lasting. The idea of having anonymity on the internet is 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, probably 999 times out of 1,000, a mirage.
He is correct. He is absolutely correct.
If the FBI wants to find out what you were doing on the internet, they're going to be able to do it. That's
not only is he correct, like, oh, the FBI wants to find out what you were doing on the internet, they're going to be able to? Yeah, absolutely. Like, y'all think the fucking government doesn't monitor the deep web and the dark web? They absolutely fucking monitor the deep web and the dark web. Yeah, dude. Do you know, there's actually been multiple cases of people, like, using hitman services on the dark web to, like, try and kill someone they work with or a family member or their spouse or whatnot. And, like, they get arrested by the FBI or by the Secret Service or whatnot because none of that shit's fucking real. Of course it's all monitored. Like, you hear all these stories about, like, oh, someone tried to find a hitman on the internet. Did you know there's never been a successful attempt at finding a hitman on the fucking dark web and getting your spouse or whoever taken out? Because that shit's not real. Like, it's for the movies. Yeah, obviously. Like, do you think that the government in their infinite power grabs would just leave the Wild West dark web open and be like, it's the dark web. We'll focus on the real internet. Like, yeah, no. It's so, yeah, Az is 100% correct here.
Not the problem. The problem is private companies that are able to do this and that are able to exercise their own rules that are separate from actual laws. And also them using this as a way to effectively censor political discussion and political content. And you already have this happen in places like Iran.
Well, yeah, hitmen are real, obviously. I'm not saying that they're not real. I'm saying that you can't just get an Onion browser and all of a sudden you got access to hitmen. And yeah, snuff films are real. I've seen a couple back in the early Wild West internet days. I've absolutely seen a couple of snuff films. Me and Cookies were talking about it the other night, dude. I remember when I was like, oh shit, this must have been 2006, maybe even earlier. I came across a video on a website I absolutely should not have been on. That had all sorts of dark and fucked up shit. And it was this like girl. Is this adult girl in a bathtub, and some dude off camera said, say the words, and she was crying, and she said, snuff films aren't real, and then bang, head was fucking, the brains blown out of her goddamn head. Like, just imagine being, 12 years old or however old I was, just like, woman curled up in a bathtub crying, snuff films aren't real, and then gunshot, fucking brain matter all over the side of the tub. Like, yes, snuff films are 100. I know they're real. All I'm saying is that, like, to pretend the government doesn't monitor the dark web is hilariously naive.
When the war in Iran was happening, Iran just turned off the internet. And with the Patriot Act? Well, like, for example, like, if you want to set up a bank account, it's pretty hard to do that without, a government ID. If you want to get a driver's license, you have to verify that you are indeed a person and you're of a certain age. It's hard to get a driver's license unless you make a fake one. Like, there are a million things in the world that you need to verify and check. Right? And
well, I've got all y'all here. I'm looking at it. I see you. I appreciate all you, but I'm seeing a lot of filthy grays in the chat. If you want to get in on the discussion when I'm not streaming, when we're not, doing videos and whatnot, become a member. $4.99 a month. Become a member. Join the Discord. We get to talk about this shit all goddamn day, son. Stop being a filthy gray. Upgrade to that green, baby.
Of course, that's the case. The internet is not the internet that we grew up in. The internet is not an alternate reality. The internet is reality. People spend more time now on the internet than they spend in real life. So this entire idea that what you're doing on the internet and what you're doing in real life are these two totally separate worlds, that's not true anymore. It's just not.
It is true, but not in the way that we want it to be true. So when we say the internet isn't real life, I mean, it still isn't. Like, when you've got, Capcom or Square Enix or Walmart or any of these corporations, like, using, polling data on X to find out what the cultural sentiment is, to find out, what they should put in their fucking video games or whatnot. Like, the reason we've had all this globo homo shit, showing up in video games is because you have these loud minorities of individuals on websites like X that have all these pronouns in their bios and these fucking flags in their name and these anime character profile pictures and shit like that. Like, yes, the internet is not real life, and that those sorts of people don't really exist near as much in the wild. Like, the internet's their anonymity safe space to pretend to be these fucking LARPers. But that's so that's where, like, the internet's not real life. That's where that ends. All the rest of it, them being able to track you down, your credit card information, that part, the anonymity in that aspect, 100% gone. Also, Genty Maxi, absolute legend. Look at you go. Oh, man, I tried to play you a clip, and my stream deck isn't working. Hold on, shit. Hold on a sec. Alright, let's try this again.
Now excuse me while I harass someone for having pronouns in their bio.
Bingo, bango, bongo, there it is. Thank you so much, Genty Maxi.
Not. Like, people are using their real names. Most people are. And you've got people on Twitter doing the same thing. People are using two-factor verification, authentication. They're attaching their phone numbers to their accounts. Nobody's really anonymous anymore. And it's not like in 2007 where it's just like random 4chan posters making, comments about Boxy. This isn't, the world has changed. And it's
damn. I remember Boxy. Boxy. I remember Boxy. What a glorious time to be on the internet, man. Damn. Yeah, enemy of the state is absolutely real. I wonder if 4chan, like 4chan says that it's anonymous and whatnot, and I think it probably still is for the most part. However, I wholeheartedly believe the government can track 4chan users. Absolutely.
Completely changed. It's no longer, the internet is no longer an alternate reality. It is a separate reality. And it is an augment to our reality. And for a lot of people like myself, the internet is reality. Spend more time on the internet in real life. And so it's completely over. Yes, times change. And so I think that with the times changing, there will be a level of accountability that has to follow that. Because you can't have people doing business, living their lives, and doing all these things on the internet, and then having anonymity with everything. It's like driving.
Well, I mean, you can, and you should, but they took that away from us because they've been wanting to steal our freedoms for, I mean, shit. What wasn't it Eisenhower? Eisenhower warned us back in the fucking 50s of the military and the dangers of the military-industrial complex. Like, this shit is 80 years in the fucking making.
Around without license plates. It's like doing anything else without any form of identification. You have to have something. This was inevitable. But the problem is that, and this is what Charlie's talking about, and this is the big issue. If this happens, it can also be used to justify censorship and to be overly controlling.
But here's the thing. You can operate in the real world with a sense of anonymity to a degree, at least in America. Like, if you want to put on all black clothes, a hood, sunglasses, and a mask and walk into a business, you can do that. There's no law stopping you from doing that. You are anonymous at that point. Now, the business has the right to refuse you service because you walk into a fucking Starbucks dressed like that and they think you're going to goddamn rob the place and they tell you get the fuck out of here. Absolutely. They have the right as a business to do that. But there's no law stopping you from dressing in an anonymous style so that you're not, tracked or whatnot. Now, again, obviously you're going to be tracked. You've got your fucking cell phone, GPS on, shit like that. But the point is, anonymity is not illegal. It's just there's so many obstacles and safeguards in place to keep it from being practical.
Like voting? Yes, exactly.
Catch you later, Paul.
There's so many bad sides to the interwebs. Yeah, of course there is, right? This is essential legislation. It's not necessarily essential legislation, but it's inevitable legislation. This will happen.
Well, yeah. What we have now is way worse than the military-industrial complex. Absolutely. I was using that as an example of, like, just that this was warned about 80 years ago. Of course, it's only gotten worse and escalated since then. Yeah, a surveillance state is a brilliant way to put it. Yes, 100%.
Because there is the honest question that I think nobody
I'm
can
sorry
really
to hear that,
answer
Jen.
in a genuine way. Where is the benefit of a 15-year-old girl having and posting on Instagram? There isn't any. There is literally zero benefit and only negatives. Literally fucking zero. And I think that there are, and that it's zero at best. That's really the big problem. And that's the reason why I think these people are going to be in this situation.
Way. And they're trying to plead their case here about how detrimental this is, trying to bring some kind of sanity and reason back to the UK here in some capacity. I know this word gets tossed around.
If you want to bring sanity and reason back to the UK, I got some advice for you. To my brothers and sisters across the pond, if you want to bring sanity back to the motherland, I got some advice for you. Kick out the fucking Muslims that have usurped your entire goddamn country. Kick out all these fucking refugees that have turned the UK into a shithole. Not that it ever was a great place, let's be real, America's supremacy, despite the fact that America's going down the same route in terms of government overreach, and we've been going down that route the same while. Let's be real, I would still rather be in America than the fucking UK. That's a good place to start.
A lot by a bunch of Redditors when tipping their fedora at anything they don't like.
Sure.
But this actually is dystopian. This is preposterous. This was never designed to protect kids from accessing harmful things like porn. It was designed for control and surveillance of their citizens. And it's being proposed in the US as well. If you thought this was an exclusive thought process just for the UK, you're very wrong.
I don't know how people cannot believe in a global like world government. Call it the Illuminati, call it a global cabal, call it a one world government, whatever you want to fucking call it. I don't know how people cannot believe in it when you see, like, this bill proposed in the UK, then days later proposed in America with damn near the exact same wording, and if not the same wording, still the same intent. 100% the same intent. Like, how can you look at that and not think, oh yeah, there's something above all these individual governments that actually want a like single unified way the world works. It's how fucking blind do you have to be?
America would love to get their fingers in our buttholes as well, and
Of course they would. Absolutely. And again, the people that want to do this, this is the problem. It's like always the old phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
That would imply that this started off with good intentions, which it never did. This started with the intention to steal our freedom. This path to hell was paved with the most vile, sickening, and evil of intentions, and they just don't care. It's the facade of good intentions because they can use this look at the children, think of the children mentality that so many stupid fuckers will fall for, but it was never good intentioned.
Very clearly, there are a lot of people that want to do this for good reasons, like to avoid grooming and to do stuff like that. But the problem is that those people are used as a Trojan.
No, it was. No. You might have individual people that feel that way, normies like us. Yeah, absolutely. But the people that are proposing these online safety bills and whatnot, every fucking one of them went to Epstein Island. You good goddamn know they did. Every single one of them got their power by fucking raping kids and praying to Baphomet at Bohemian Grove. Like, yeah, don't even for a moment. Like, I'm sure there are a few randos out there that are in the government to try and make good change and whatnot, and they truly wanted to get things to be the way they were before. They value freedom. All right, sure, but that's not the vast fucking majority. No. Every single one of these people, they talking about the Online Safety Act, have fucking got child porn on their private server that they got from Epstein Island.
Horse to get in actual censorship. And I think that's what's happening in the UK. Because like as with most things like this, there's elements of it that I agree with.
Now have the Kids Online Safety Act that has been reintroduced in late May that aims to do something very similar here. It's a very common tactic where these proposed legislations will have things like, we have to protect the children. You know, another classic meme, think of the children.
Yeah,
well, it's a meme for a reason, because it is the go-to strategy for a lot of politicians, because it's very easy to drum up support under this false pretense. It is not about protecting kids. This isn't actually
and it never fucking was
trying to stop kids from accessing porn. It is a convenient way for them to control your information and spy on you freely, openly, and easily. It is all about surveillance, control, and censorship. And all I can do is sit here and cross my...
He's completely right about this, by the way. This is the reason why something like this has to happen through a government authentication system that the individual companies have no awareness.
I don't get how Asmongold can be this fucking retarded. The governments are the ones proposing these bills. Are you fucking retarded?
And they have no access to. Only through a checking mechanism. Like LinkedIn, for example. You can't have the companies doing this themselves.
But the companies aren't doing this themselves. They started doing this because the government said, hey, you need to do this. No kidding, Asmongold L. Schizo Sweets. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Fingers and toes while kissing a rabbit's foot that we are lucky enough that this will be shot down as it has in the past in this country. But it's not guaranteed. Obviously, most people don't want kids accessing porn.
Yeah.
And in an age where information can spread so quickly, so wrongly, there's...
Well, everybody knows, like, this is something that's probably, like, politically incorrect to say this, but, like, if you were 12 years old now and you were in the UK, do you think this would stop you from looking at porn?
No, it's not. And I don't give a fuck how politically incorrect it is to say, look, if kids want to fucking access porn, they're gonna find a way to do it. Ain't no amount of big daddy government fucking stopping that.
Really? Like, I mean, let's just be honest about this. I don't even think this would put a dent in it. It's not going to change this at all. It's not going to do anything. Like, if I was a kid, this wouldn't stop me. I'd just work around it the same as I work around everything else. And so the real reason, and like this is the problem, is that because they're not willing to use an actual
Solzen, they do
system
know this.
like
You're right.
South Korea, and they use these weird half measures, what they end up doing is all they're achieving is just censoring things and not helping anybody. And that's the big problem. Kids are the most resourceful. Well, they don't have anything else to do. I'd steal a relative's ID and use it. Yeah, sure, right? I mean, a million different ways of doing it. This isn't about porn. It's about corporate profits. I don't even think it's about that, honestly. I think it's about the government trying to create narratives and control narratives. That's
not create narratives and control narratives. I mean, you're correct, create narratives. You could leave off the control narratives and just say control. That's what it's about. Yeah, this isn't about corporate fucking profits. Not at all. It's about control. And it always has been.
Really what's going on here. It's not even about corporations at all. We have an actual censorship supporter in chat. What is this here? Let me read this person's message.
Hold on. If he knows it's not about corporations, then why is he saying there should be government checks on this? Like Asmongold's speaking out both sides of his mouth, and he doesn't even fucking realize it seems like.
Why isn't he explaining how 12-year-olds get around it? How would they get around it? Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways, right? I mean, you could...
All right, Jana, that's kind of hot. Also, how you doing, girly?
So there's a way that you could use a parent's account. You could get on your parent's account. Like, that's what I did. Like, I mean, I just used my mom's account to go on the internet. Like, I used my mom's computer. Like, how many of you guys, whenever you looked at porn the first time, you just did it on the family computer? So, like, it's not even like,
Bro, this is gonna sound absolutely fucked up, but truth is truth. Dude, when I was like 14 years old or 13 years old or whatever, I used my grandma's goddamn iPad. Like, let's be real. I used my grandma's fucking iPad and then cleared search history and shit because there was no way that she was going to figure that sort of shit out. Like, yeah, kids can get around this shit easy. And not just for fucking porn, dude. Not just for fucking porn. Like, you need to be, if I recall, you need to be like 13 years old on to get access to Neopets. So what I do, I just made that my date of birth say like 92 instead of 94 or fucking whatever.
your parents have it, and then you just delete the history. So, like, I mean, that's one way that's like really obvious, right? Opera browser has a VPN built into it. Yeah, sure. I'm just saying in general. Earlier messages, and what is this here? Just relax, guys. USA think a lot of peeps London equals the UK. This is so funny to us in the UK. We think America's overreacting. Destiny is the result of accessing porn easily. We've seen the negative of kids accessing porn easily.
No one is saying that there isn't negatives of kids accessing porn. No one here is advocating, like, show the kids all that fucking porn. No. What we're saying is it's up to the fucking parents to do their goddamn job parenting, and not for Big Daddy global homo government to come in and like start doing the parenting for us. Which by the fucking way, Child Internet Safety Act. Let's make sure kids don't have access to porn. But global homo is sure okay with fucking pride parades, like having two dudes just fucking raw dogging on Main Street while kids are in attendance. Get the fuck out of here.
It's essential legislation. It's old school RuneScape streamers. What is this here? I'll let this person make one more comment that I want to move on past this. That's something a 12-year-old would ask. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a million different ways that you can get around rules like this. I mean, it's common sense.
There's a lot of people that might hear the tiddlywinks about this bill, think it's doing something that it's not, and support it. Mm-hmm. It's very possible.
No, correct. Because we live in a fucking headline, not just a headline, surface level country, but it's headline surface level fucking world. Like, you read a bill, not read a bill, you read the title of a bill, and it says the Kids Online Safety Act, and people can be like, yep, good enough for me, keeping kids safe. Like, I don't remember who, there's some YouTuber, maybe it's Tim Pool. There's some fucking YouTuber that uses this example all the time, and it's 100% true. This is the Free Puppies and Ice Cream Act, and people fucking vote for it. They're like, all right, where's my free ice cream and puppies? Like, what? No, that bill is about fucking cutting the fins off sharks. Like, doesn't matter what the fucking title of the bill is. Read that shit.
There's never been an easier time to get some really damaging freedom overturning bills passed than right now. Yeah. Because you control so much information so easily, and most people don't bother to spend even a fucking iota.
If you're out of here, catch you later, Piranha.
Any of the topics. It's
that's
just
the way with everything. Yeah, people don't
really concerning mix of ingredients here for like the possible perfect storm of no longer having an internet that you can access without providing identification. For some reason, it's become highly accepted and normalized that the internet is expected to cater to children being on it completely unsupervised.
That is the problem. That is the issue. I think that you can draw the line at social media websites and peer-to-peer messaging, but the idea that the entire internet needs to be sanitized, regulated, and controlled because some parent that's a shitty parent might not be able to control their kid going on a bad website, this is outrageous. I don't think that the entire
And what's amazing about this, not only are they correct about this, however, the government becoming a nanny state has been happening for years upon years. Think about what happened back in the 70s. What happened? oh, women getting to come into the workplace. Maybe not the 70s. Maybe it was earlier than that. I believe it was 78 though. Like fucking women in the workplace becoming the norm. Why? Because now you don't have two parents in the home. Now you've got someone else taking care of your fucking kids, whether it be the public school system or a fucking sitter or a daycare program or whatever it may be. Yeah, like parents are shitty parents. Not be like in some instances, because they've grown up with just being the norm, thinking that the nanny state is the norm, not realizing the irreparable damage that is going to be done to your kids by not fucking being there. Like, it is insane to me, the idea. It's like, parents are like, don't get me wrong, there are bad parents out there that don't put parental locks on their kids' shit like they should, or don't monitor what their kids are doing on the internet like they should, or anything like that. That's, of course, absolutely happening. However, there's also a lot of folk out there that just don't realize how much government influence has over their lack of time with their kids because of the society that's been built for the last 40 or so years by taking both parents out of the home, by having them in office jobs from 9 to 5 or whatever.
Population has to live with censorship because some parents can't live with accountability. It's a completely massive distortion, and it doesn't make any sense at all. It's also a lot harder now because parents give their kids iPhones. Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can check that, probably, right? I mean, there's
absolutely
there's so many
rocking
tools
hound
to manage
dog
it as well. You can install a keylogger to get parents' passwords. Yeah, exactly. You're making a good points, but I don't see proof for the Trojan horse argument. Sure. So basically, here's the point that I'm making. So anything that would be unacceptable for a kid to see. So do you think that violence and certain types of political extremism would be unacceptable for a kid to see? I think there would be a lot of people who would arrive at the conclusion that, yes, actually, it would be unacceptable for a kid to see it. So because of that, you could have things like the different pushes for, the lesser immigration in the EU, for example. You could have that be categorized as behavior that should be censored. They could easily make that argument. And I think that you could make that argument because really this is a complex adult political issue that really shouldn't be being shown to kids. This isn't really about kids. Kids don't understand that. And so, yeah, play the UK PM talking to Trump about this today. You mean whenever the UK PM said that you don't get in trouble for, like saying things on the internet, but then there's like multiple examples of people getting in trouble for saying things on the internet?
Not just getting in trouble, arrested, put in fucking jail for saying shit on the internet. It's absolutely a thing. What up, love it?
He's lying. He's saying something that's not true. And it's verifiably not true because you can look at what's happened to people and you can look at what laws they have. Why would you listen to what he's saying instead of looking at what he's doing? I don't even understand that.
I don't care who your fucking favorite politician is. First of all, if you got a favorite politician, you're fucking retarded. But if your favorite politician says one thing, but the obvious answer is, hey, I see XYZ, you're doing the opposite. Like, I don't give a shit whose team you're on. Call them fuckers out. It is first of all, the idea of having a favorite politician is fucking weird to me because they're all evil. It's just varying fucking levels of evil. But yeah, some of this shit's just blatantly out there. When Keir Starmer says, no, you can't get in trouble for what's being said on the internet. Bitch! We have got verifiable proof of multiple motherfuckers getting in legal trouble for what they said on the goddamn internet.
And while that does happen, that is the fault of the parent, and the blame lies solely on the parent refusing to do their job in raising their own fucking kids. It is not the internet's responsibility to do that for them. Now,
the world does not.
It's also not the fucking government's responsibility to do that for them. It does not take a fucking village to raise a child. And it certainly doesn't take the village elders in control of over 300 million people in the U.S. to do it.
Not need to be a padded room for you to bounce around in. This is the same viewpoint that I've had with like that 2% stuff. Why are we catering all of society around the dumbest, most irresponsible, most violent, abusive, aggressive, problematic, and antisocial people? Why are we doing that? It seems like a massive mistake.
You know, it's been very common for parents to just sit their kids in front of an iPad, creating these iPad kids, setting them up for failure, really, by refusing to actively be a part of their life and raise them.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that the internet needs to step in and change to do it for them. There needs to be the onus placed back on the household. The parents should be once again in charge of raising their kids.
Both of them are completely ignoring. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with what's being said. I don't. Oh, why'd you retract those messages, Rockin' Hound Dog? They were correct. Anyway, both of these guys are correct in that, yes, parents need to step up and be fucking parents again. Like absolutely. However, neither of them are acknowledging how difficult the government has fucking made that. And it's by design. It's by intent. Like, again, this is not to give a free pass to shitty parents that don't know how to parent. Not at all. It shouldn't be easy. It needs to be hard. But by the same token, the government has intentionally, over the last 30, 40, 50 years, created a system to enable the nanny state, to make it harder and harder for parents to fucking be parents. This is a twofold issue.
That's how it used to be, and that's how you had normal people develop. Not like...
And also, the other problem is that back then, you did have bad situations happen. And this is something that I think a lot of people might be uncomfortable discussing. But back then, when you didn't have as many rules, you also had bad things happen to people. Absolutely. But that's life. Like, and in a lot of cases, I would want to have...
Bad things happening to people is a small price to pay for fucking freedom.
Of a world where, yeah, maybe bad things can happen, but you live with a little bit more freedom. And that's the case with a lot of things in the
Bingo,
US.
bongo.
Like, for example, guns. Like, we can have guns here, and I can guarantee you, if there were no guns allowed, there probably would be a net decrease in gun deaths. But does that mean that we should take away everybody's guns? No. It's the same as speed limits. If you took the speed limit down by 20 miles an hour, I bet probably you would have less accidents everywhere. But would that be better for everybody? No. So, again, don't fall for the illusion of safety and even a degree of safety and then trade away your entire freedom to it. Yeah, ban cars, save lives. Yeah, it's insane. And so, yeah, take the gun. Ban guns are bad, okay? Speed limits are unconstitutional. True, brother. Yep. And so left brain cannot tolerate unknowns and uncertainties. Freedom is the ultimate uncertainty. Well, and this is the problem, is that people have these, like, extreme viewpoints on things. And I think that I have a pretty moderate viewpoint on it, where I think that social media and peer-to-peer messaging apps should be regulated with a pretty high degree, and you shouldn't allow minors on those social media apps. But using the
I agree that you shouldn't allow minors on these social media apps. However, how do you stop it? By parents being fucking parents. Big Daddy government doesn't get to step in and force this shit to change because there's minors on here. No. Culture, society, all that needs to change. But how do you fucking do that? Well, the government thinks it's up to them to do that. No. You work for us, not us working for you. And no actual American who values freedom is asking for this. But again, they want control. It all boils down to control.
Entire internet, and making the entire internet like that without even having to log on is such a massive overreach that I don't agree with it at all.
This, not under the thumb of the government sticking its nose in your business. It is terrifying. Why have we just gotten to the point where we excuse bad parenting and instead force the internet to be the ones to be the parental figure, where everything is like babied to ensure a kid doesn't accidentally access fucking Wikipedia or something? It's completely preposterous. And on top of that, it's downright dangerous for everybody. You shouldn't be providing...
I mean, to be fair, kids shouldn't be accessing Wikipedia because Wikipedia has nothing but left-leaning propaganda, but that's neither here nor there.
Your identification and all of this data like this. It's just not good.
Well,
and
absolutely, Jen. Absolutely.
I mean, the reality is that, I mean, yes, it's a hose-mad situation, and we can all laugh at them and think that it's funny, But the reality is that these women are having their lives ruined, and now they have their picture posted online. Probably a lot of them, this really negatively affected them emotionally. And did they deserve it? I mean, like, I would say, yeah, kind of. But like at the same time, the fact that it can happen is bad. It's funny. Yeah, exactly. But like what I'm saying is that a bad thing happening to a bad person is funny, but it's still a bad thing. And
well, I think they're talking about the T app right now, and I think that's a bad example. You know, because the T app had all that information shared on a public server. There are laws and rules and regulations for collecting this data, and homie that ran the T app just didn't follow those laws and rules and regulations. Now, again, you can argue whether or not those laws and rules and regulations are bad. Again, I would say they are, because I'm anti-regulation, I'm anti-law, things like that. But the point is, they do exist, and he just ignored them to set up an unsafe, easily accessible server. So a better example would need to be if something that was actually private, actually encrypted and whatnot, got hacked, like such as with all the Sony hacks we've seen. What up, Rug and Hound Dog?
the reality is that if a leak can happen,
yes, because the streets, a dude was running the
T
T app.
To other apps as well. Most hacking and most database breaches, from my understanding, are just straight up social engineering. It's not like some guy uses some kind of weird machine that he creates.
Akuma, that's a terrible fucking solution. For those of you that don't, he says, stop using the internet, touch grass. That is a terrible fucking solution. Because the internet is literally the way the world works. Commerce, industry, governments, it is all nowadays built on the back of the internet. The idea that you can just get, literally billions of people to just stop using it is that is more fictional than fucking Santa Claus.
And it's a headset that allows him to hack into the government with his mind. It's just a guy that's using someone else's credentials and then downloading the database to a hard drive and then taking the hard drive out of the building. That's what's really happening. And so, correct, I work in cyber. Yeah, I would say 90%, 95% are social engineering, phishing, and identity theft. It's not actual database breaches through genuine hacking. Our entire API was open with no passwords? Yeah, exactly. The T-app leak was a form of ethical hacking? No, it wasn't. It was not ethical hacking, because hacking would have...
The T leak wasn't a hack, by the way. We got to stop. The T leak wasn't a hack. This shit was just publicly available.
Imply that you would have to get into something. They just put all of the... this guy basically said, okay, I'm going to take everybody's driver's licenses and put them in this box. And then some guy said, hey, what's this box? Damn, what are all these driver's licenses?
Yeah, that's
Holy
exactly
shit.
what happened. Yes.
Yeah, they didn't even get hacked. There was no security. In order to have hacking, you'd need to be bypassing security. Security wasn't even bypassed.
Really hope we don't see it come to America. I wanted to put all of this on your plate here, put it on your radar, because this is not something good. Don't let the propaganda fool you. It is not aiming to actually protect anybody or anything.
No.
It is solely for control and surveillance, trying to get more data from you to monitor your activities and ensure you are the drone they want you to be. This is not a...
I gotta be real. I'm pretty impressed with Charlie. Very rarely does he spit actual facts. Normally, it's just the most lukewarm of ideas or criticisms or critiques. And more often than not, he's in the wrong in terms of the social ideologies of the day. I'm actually pretty impressed by him right now.
Good thing. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. That's it.
Fucking based. Absolutely. Absolutely 100% fucking based. Charlie is totally right about this. I think that, again, concessions will have to be made for certain things on the internet because the internet has become an integral part of our real lives. But the idea that the entire internet needs to be censored, regulated, and controlled because some parents can't control their kids. Here's the original fucking Child Safety Act. It's called parenting. That's it. That's what you need to do. And so, yeah, Europe is a testing grounds for the USA. Make sure to give the video a like. I totally fucking agree with them, right? Kids should be controlled, not the freedom. Yeah, definitely, right? The idea that you get arrested for online comment is a myth. You get arrested for hate speech, incitement to violence. Edgelords like to pretend that.
Hate speech isn't real. If you get arrested for hate speech, who gets to decide what hate speech is? The fucking government. Dude, I remember, this is a true goddamn story. My OG X account, back when it was Twitter, back in like 2016, 2017, something like that, before I was a content creator. I mean, I was making like a handful of videos here and there on a different account, but like before I was an actual content creator or anything, back when I was just some dude going to my regular ass 9 to fucking 5, who was interested in politics and internet culture and shit like that. Dude, I was, and obviously nerd culture, I was talking shit on Disney Star Wars, like, not even aggressively or using any profanity. Dude, I didn't use any, like, real racial jokes, dark or crude humor, nothing. I was just talking shit on Disney Star Wars. My account, my Twitter account, got fucking banned for that. Like, 7-day ban for talking shit. You want to know why? Because Disney absolutely had folks at X or monitoring things for criticism and whatnot. And you want to know how I know that's what it was? Because after my account got turned back on, as a test, I posted a tweet that was just the N-word with the hard R. Didn't get banned. Like, that was the whole tweet. Just N-word with the hard R. Just that single word. That was the tweet. Didn't get banned for it. Account didn't even get touched. But it did for criticizing Disney Star Wars. Like, that's fucking weird.
Otherwise? Okay, so like then you make an online comment and they say it's hate speech and you get arrested. Okay, so then you get arrested for an online comment. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm glad you cleared that up for me. Thanks. I was confused there, but now I understand. And so anyway, define hate speech. Yeah, I don't want to hear that bullshit. And anyway, I think the responsibility
Facts,
keeping kids
love
safe
it.
from danger
Facts.
should be given to the parents, not by making the internet shit for everyone. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, Democrats get their way. The same thing you see in Europe will happen in the U.S. Well, and this is also another big problem, is that everybody talks about
No one gave me the right cryptic. I took it. Colonizer FT dubs.
this, but they don't realize that this type of behavior and this activity is what's going to be used as a foundation to censor other things like COVID. Like the exact rules that they're making right now for kids are rules that they will apply whenever COVID or something like that happens in the future. I'll be right back. Yeah, obviously, can you guys imagine them doing the exact same thing with COVID? I definitely can. I think anybody could. I'll be right back.
I'm muted. My bad. I don't need to imagine what they did for COVID, because it was already done with COVID. They 100% did that already. I don't need to imagine it. I don't know if I can consider this video a dub or not. I'll be real. Like, there were some pretty shit takes in this video. There was also some good takes in this video. At the end of the day, all that matters is is my take, which was the objectively correct one, and that the government sucks. The government sucks. Fuck the government. Parents need to parent. However, one of the reasons parents have trouble parenting, again, one in a list of many, is because the government has made it harder because they've been trying to create a nanny state since like the fucking 70s. So, yeah, needless to say, fuck that. That's retarded. All right. What is next on the docket? Right. This right here. Charlie Kirk, latest example of the right not understanding Cartman. Bro, the left, I said this on X, I'll say it here on stream. The left cannot handle the idea that people on the right, some people on the right, can fucking laugh at themselves and are A-okay with jokes being made about them, because that is what free speech means. If you are okay with free speech, then that means you need to be okay with them talking shit about you as well. And when Charlie Kirk, made his profile picture the Cartman version of himself, because that's what South Park's doing in their upcoming episode, the left lost their collective minds. Like, you know they're on your side, right? You know they're making fun of you, right? Yeah, no shit. Charlie Kirk not a fucking idiot. He knows they're making fun of him. And when you lean into the joke, that makes you the fucking winner. So let's read through here. He'll likely just be happy if South Park doesn't give him an animated micropenis. Barring another unexpected hiatus, we'll be getting a brand new episode of South Park on August 6th. The recently released promo suggests the second installment of Season 27 will feature a storyline involving Ice, plus the return of Trump and his two-dimensional micro-dick. Like, obviously, this is a pretty fucking biased article and a very pro-left-leaning stance. They are so... Like, they think that the world operates the way that they operate. They think that people think the same as them. Like the shit that I say about left-leaning individuals and leftists and liberals and whatnot are all jokes. And I mean, a lot of them are true as well. But like I say in a joking fashion, they immediately assume they can say the same shit about me, and then I'll get all offended. Oh, Leon's a smash JT cock. Oh, dude, Leon likes to watch Hypno rail his girlfriend. Like, shit like that. Like, dude, go for it. It doesn't bother me. I will laugh along with it because, yeah, you can. I got no problem with you guys saying it. That's free fucking speech. It doesn't bother me, but the idea that they think this shit will affect us because it affects them shows that they are literally incapable of understanding the idea that not everybody is offended by everything, or even better, they are incapable of understanding that we can understand when we're being made fun of. It just doesn't bother us. If anything, we will lean into the joke because that makes it even funnier. Also, Cartman seems to have rebounded from the death of woke-inspired depression we saw in the season premiere, and he has subsequently undergone a full-on MAGA makeover. A Bible-carrying Cartman berates BB for hating on America and loving abortions while sporting a new haircut that fans immediately pointed out bears a striking resemblance to conservative commentator, boardwalk caricature come to life, Charlie Kirk. And, yeah, so here's the, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'll play it. I don't give a shit.
Wednesday, August 6th.
You can just shut up, baby, because you hate America and you love abortion.
On an all-new South Park. The epic season continues.
We want to honor the president's courage.
Stop. South Park. New episode Wednesday, August 6th at 10 on Comedy Central, and next day on...
Yeah, make fun of the right. I don't give a fuck. Make fun of everybody. South Park always does. And it's fine. I'm here for it. I support it. Absolutely make fun of everyone. While the idea of being mocked on South Park might scare some celebrities, Kirk seems downright thrilled to be part of the show. After the promo dropped, he quickly started posting Cartman memes. Yeah, Charlie knows they're not on his side. He knows they're making fun of him. However, he is correct in that when South Park makes fun of you, that means you've made it. You've become part of the cultural zeitgeist. Why would he not want to lean into that? Like, who cares if they're criticizing him? That means he has become big enough and culturally relevant enough to fucking be criticized. That is a good thing. Like, are you out your goddamn minds? Cartman is playing Charlie Kirk on the next episode of South Park. This is the greatest honor pop culture can bestow upon you. Bingo, bango, bongo. Benny Johnson is entirely correct. We love metrosexual Benny, right? We all love metrosexual Benny. That's a callback to a 2-year-old episode of SNH if you guys are unfamiliar. Metrosexual Benny. God, good times. Dude, it does not matter if South Park is praising you or making fun of you. Let's be real. They rarely fucking praise people. Celebrities, politicians, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just the fact that you were there. The fact that you were on the show means you've made it. It would be suicide for Charlie Kirk to get all upsetty spaghetti over South Park making fun of him. Like, the only option, even if secretly down in his inside feely parts he is upset about this, which I highly doubt he is, but even if he's deep down upset in his inside feely parts, the idea that he would like let that be shown to the world when conservatives and right-wingers or whatever are supposed to be the ones that like aren't snowflakes, that would be career suicide. So yeah, no, this article is insane. Even changed the profile picture to that of South Park doppelganger, which begs the question, does Kirk realize the show is making fun of him? And this is the real crux of this. This isn't the Glaze the Charlie Kirk hour with Leon Idol. No. It's just fucking funny as hell to me that these people cannot realize, yeah, obviously. Like anybody would know that this show is making fun of them. In the history of South Park, do you know how many celebrities have asked to come on the show? Like, to voice characters on the show? Like, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, like, you know we're going to fucking roast you, right? Celebrities didn't give a fuck. They just want to be part of the cultural relevance that was South Park. So, yes, obviously, Charlie Kirk realizes they're making fun of him. That's a good fucking thing. Like, why would you not lean into that joke? Like, dude, as often as I'm called, like by the SNH crew and whatnot, or not even the SNH crew, it's about the Cabal, right? It's about the Cabal. How often does Gooch, or Badger, or Irwin, or Moxie, how often do any of them, allude to me being gay, or make jokes about me being gay, or whatever? And what do? Do I get all huffy and puffy and blow their house down? No, dude. I just have to lean into it and just swap my arms a little bit. Like, fucking lean into the joke to add to it, because that's what fucking adults do. And that's what entertainers do. And that's what public figures do. Because it's fun. Because it's funny. Dude, ain't nobody gonna garner an audience if they're a fucking bump on the log, stick in the mud. Yes! Bro thinks he's in on the joke. He's absolutely in on the joke. That's why he changed his profile picture to Cartman, because he's in on the joke. Like, this is a Charlie dub, and it's hilarious to me. Like, downright fucking hilarious that the left doesn't realize this as a dub. Wow. Kirk's embrace the South Park parody could just be a sweaty attempt to seem chill when he's quietly shitting himself with anxiety. Why would he shit himself with anxiety over South Park making jokes about him, when they have a 20-year legacy of doing this with everyone else? Like, has a caricature of someone on South Park ever actually ruined that person's reputation? I mean, I can't think of one. Like, was South Park ever a fan, or were there ever any fans of a celebrity or a politician or whatever? And then South Park made fun of them. And then people were like, I guess I'm not a fan of this person anymore because South Park made fun of him. That's never fucking happened. Why would Charlie Kirk be shitting himself with anxiety? He wouldn't be the first MAGA acolyte to completely misunderstand the character of Eric Cartman. And then from here, they make a bunch of dumb, like South Park's always been so based about, Cartman, being a Nazi, shit like that. Like, this is absolutely a 100% cope session from the left and from left-leaning media. And I fucking love it when they're on their cope sessions. Or even better, maybe it's not a cope session. It would be even funnier, and this is what's actually probably likely correct. Or maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe it's a cope session as well as this. Because they truly cannot wrap their head around the fact that those of us that are either on the right or libertarian, anarchists, whatever, point is, those of us that are not offended by every little thing can lean into jokes being made about ourselves. That is even fucking funnier to me. The fact that they are so self-obsessed, so ideologically driven, so narcissistic, so mentally communist that they truly do not even have the capacity to understand that the thing that would offend them if it happened to them would not affect someone else or give the same reaction to another person. Like, that is some big main character syndrome, homie. Like, holy shit. The leftist celebs are the ones that lost trying to sue South Park, sue the creator of South Park. I didn't know about that, but I'm not surprised. Commies can't meme. You probably really do need an e-reader to explain the jokes to the left. Damn. Y'all going in on it. You love to see it. All right. What else we got here? I know that was a pretty short one, but yeah, we didn't have much to say or much, much was going on with that. All right. As we wind down, as we wind down, I got one more video reaction. We're probably going to be going a bit longer than normal, but I want to do something a little bit fun, a little bit, as a wind down. Didn't want any pop culture or politics or ideologies. No, instead, I want to do this. Is Dragon Ball Z Abridged better than original Dragon Ball Z? We're going to end it with some anime discussion. And to be fair, while I do not think Dragon Ball Z Abridged is better than the original Dragon Ball Z, I will say that there are certain things in Dragon Ball Z Abridged that are actually more accurate to the original Japanese manga than the Funimation dub of the late 90s and early 2000s. Like, you can make a case that the way that DBZ Abridged tells the story and encapsulates the characters are actually more faithful to the original Japanese translation than the Funimation dub. So I think this could make for an interesting discussion. And it's about 15 minutes long, so let's go.
Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Some people love it, some people hate it, and no Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Some people love it, some people hate it, and no matter what I say about it, there will be people out there that will be offended. Well,
I mean, he is entirely correct about every statement that he just made. Now, by the way, I want to point out, I do love Dragon Ball Z Abridged. I don't like what Dragon Ball Z Abridged did for the internet brain rot culture that, like, people do not understand Dragon Ball nowadays. Like younger kids on the internet or younger people on the internet, because Abridged was like the revitalization for Dragon Ball, and that's like the most culturally relevant thing for some folks. So like the whole Goku being a bad dad thing and whatnot. There are aspects of the Abridged culture that I can't stand, but that doesn't affect my actual like love of Abridged itself. Yeah. Funimation was terrible for their censorship. Agreed.
bad, because the time has come for me to talk about Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Is it good? Is it bad? And did it harm the Dragon Ball fandom? In this video, I'm answering all those questions and more. Let's get into it.
Hey, Mom, why do you never seem to age?
Oh, your father won't let me.
Hey guys, Tony here, and today I just want to do something a little bit more casual, a little bit more discussion-y, because I had at least one person specifically ask that I talk about Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and I've had multiple people just bring it up, whether they were praising Dragon Ball Z Abridged or whether they were criticizing it.
Man, I'll be real, they didn't approve of the word filthy monkey. Oh, you love to see it.
That's stupid. You're stupid. Stop being stupid.
Yeah, no, again, I unabashedly love Dragon Ball Z Abridged. What I don't like, what I loathe, and what I hate is Team 4-Star themselves. Team 4-Star absolutely are the type of internet pussies, and they've done this. I'm not just speculating here. And they go back and remove old jokes that self-censor, that every fucking Pride Month change their goddamn colors to rainbow, or they sell tranny flag-related Team 4-Star merch and whatnot. Like, I fucking loathe Team 4-Star. But Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a piece of comedic genius. Daxnar says DBZA is great. The idea of replacing the original is lame. Well, again, I don't think that it's... The question isn't, does it replace the original? The question is it better than the original? And it depends on what you define as the original. Like, again, if people are saying the original as in the Japanese dub of the anime that is an adaptation of the Japanese manga, no, not at all. Abridged will never be better than that. But if people think of the original as the Funimation dub of the late 90s and early 2000s, honestly, I think you can make an argument that DBZ Abridged is better, that it handles the source material better, that it understands the character better, that it actually does more accurate interpretations of the translations than Funimation. But again, I don't know if that's the route he's going to go. I'm very interested to see where this goes. Yeah, Kaiser drank the Kool-Aid for sure. I even had a little back and forth in the comment section of their commentary of the episode. Yeah, they removed the freaky alien genotype joke. Exactly.
It's come up in my comments quite a few times. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you out there might think that I really don't like Dragon Ball Z Abridged because it butchers the original source material and all that stuff, because on this channel I like to focus on what was in the source material, and I like to show people this is how it was done in the source material.
What's crazy is I don't think it butchers the source material. And again, now I'm never going to say Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a replacement for the original. Ever. Of course not. Dragon Ball Z is my favorite anime / manga of all time. The Dragon Ball franchise as a whole is my favorite anime / manga of all time. So I would never say Abridged is a replacement. That being said, the brilliance of Abridged comes down to the fact that they are actually able to adequately and more or less accurately tell the story while turning it into a full-blown comedy.
And this is how it was changed when it was localized by Funimation, etc., etc. But if that's the case, then you're wrong, because I enjoy Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and I think it's a really well done parody of not just Dragon Ball Z, but also the culture and the fandom surrounding Dragon Ball in general. And no,
I agree with his take on that completely. I absolutely agree with his take there. It also does a great job at poking and prodding and joking about the Dragon Ball fandom at large.
I'm not being positive about Dragon Ball Z Abridged because of nostalgia. The first time that I watched Dragon Ball Z Abridged was a few months ago. Yeah, I've been aware of Dragon Ball Z Abridged for a very long time.
He first watched it a few months ago? Hold on, how old is this video? This video is 6 days old, dude. Jesus Christ, I feel old. And I was watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged, like, within the first couple of episodes of it ever releasing. Like, I was in high school when Dragon Ball Z Abridged started. How many years ago was that? Hold on a sec. Hold on. I'm curious. How long ago was that? When did DBZ Abridged start? 2008, bro. The first episode of Dragon Ball Z Abridged was 2008. This shit will be 20 years old in 3 years. Like, that is insane. Dragon Ball Z Abridged release date is actually closer to the Western release date of Dragon Ball Z than it is now. That's fucking crazy. Anyway, back to the video.
Maybe since very early on, but I just never got around to watching it. It wasn't until a few months ago when I watched the commentary version that the Team 4-Star guys did a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed that. I got to hear the behind-the-scenes stories, I got to hear about why they did certain jokes, what jokes they don't like, the music choices, and all that stuff. So that helped me appreciate all the work and all the thinking that went into Dragon Ball Z Abridged. And then a few days ago, I decided to watch it properly for the first time because I knew I was going to be doing this video, so I thought I should do that in preparation. And so I watched it without the commentary track, and I still enjoyed it. Of course, that doesn't mean that I think that Dragon Ball Z Abridged is perfect. There's definitely some jokes, especially early on, that miss the mark, and then there's others that haven't aged all.
He's very correct, man. Some of them early Dragon Ball Z Abridged episodes are pretty fucking rough. Like, you could tell they're trying, but damn, the jokes were just bad. Like, they're just poorly written jokes. Like in the very first episode, like when you meet Raditz for the first time, the farmer's like, "Oh my God, it's Sonic the Hedgehog!" Like no, that was dumb. That wasn't fucking funny. Even in 2008, that shit wasn't funny.
That well. And
oh, by the way, there are not jokes that have not aged well in DBZ, at least for like cultural or political reasons. That shit's gay as fuck.
Even the Team 4-Star guys freely admit this.
Season 1 especially.
Yep.
Which...
Again, Dax, hold on. You're jumping to a conclusion. He has not defined what he means by OG. Like, you don't actually know the premise yet because he has not defined the parameters. So you're coming in this with a bias because you assume you know what he's going to mean by OG.
Oh boy, filled with reference humor, fourth wall breaks, and
that just happened.
Lots of that kind of stuff. I wouldn't call us great writers back then.
I wouldn't call us great writers now.
I wouldn't call us writers back then. We were just kind of filling
There you go,
in
Dax.
spaces and just got in way over our heads with something that grew beyond our possible expectations. Thank you, by the way.
But as a whole, to me, the good definitely outweighs the bad by far. All right, so then let's talk about some of those good things that I enjoyed. First of all, I really like that Team 4-Star chose to highlight some aspects of the source material that Funimation either outright erased or severely downplayed.
Okay, so when he says that Funimation erased or downplayed, this is why I think when he says original DBZ, he means the Funimation dub. Because that's not the original DBZ. The original DBZ aired in Japan and Japanese. And then, after that, when it came to the West, you had the Ocean dub first. Now, there's actually a case that could be made that besides the censorship, the Ocean dub was actually more accurate than the Funimation dub. Now, again, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it would be an interesting argument. What is more accurate to the source material? Funimation dub or Ocean dub? And to be fair, there are certain aspects of the Ocean dub I like far better than the Funimation dub. Shit, I think Peter Kalamick is a better voice actor for Goku than Sean Schimmel ever will be. So, like, when he specifically brings up Funimation, he shouldn't have titled this original DBZ, because it seems like he's going to be comparing Abridged to the Funimation dub. And in that respect, I do think you can make a pretty solid case for Abridged actually being the better adaptation. I really do. Was the Gun and Wing, random question, chat, when was the Gun and Wing released globally? 95? I don't know, but I remember watching Gun and Wing on Toonami back in the day. So, I mean, I know it was a while ago.
Sometimes they did this in humorous ways, sometimes they did this in very subtle ways. But either way, if you know the source material, you catch a lot of these things. For example, I love how they made it a point to use music from the original Japanese soundtrack. Also, I love the abridged version of Goku.
This is gonna be a hot take. Maybe. I don't know if it's a hot take or not. I like the Japanese the Japanese soundtrack better than the Falconer soundtrack. Like, I love the Bruce Falconer soundtrack. I do. But I think the Japanese music is better and does fit Dragon Ball better.
Goku, I'm insane. From Earth.
It's clear that this is an exaggerated version of source material Goku rather than Funimation Goku. Obviously, there's...
Yeah, and maybe it's not a hot take, Daxnar, but I know a lot of fucking people have straight up nostalgia boners for the Bruce Falconer tracks. And again, I get it. I like those tracks. Shit, the intro to Countercast, the intro to Countercast is based on the Falconer music. But and actually, I think the Falconer music as just songs in isolation are better songs. But for Dragon Ball specifically, I like the original Japanese music better.
Masako X's performance, which I think is great, and it's also very inspired by the original Goku, Masako Nozawa. But of course, there's also the characterization. Abridged Goku is very dumb and very much obsessed with food.
You die of heart failure the year before.
What? Why? How?
High cholesterol.
From what?
According to the coroner, too much bacon.
You take that back.
These are character traits that are absolutely...
That's a good joke. Why is that a good joke? Because it exaggerates Goku's character while still being in character. Like, that's how parody is done right. Or better yet, caricature is done right. Which is you take an aspect of what is already there and you exaggerate it to comedic levels. Like, again, that joke is in character for the original version of Goku. But taken to the extreme degree for comedy. That's why it works.
In the source material, it's just that Abridged really exaggerates them because, again,
I agree,
Abridged
Dax.
is a parody,
So is Cell.
and that's what parodies do. And here's one more thing I like about Abridged that is a fairly small thing, but it's something that really stood out to me. This version of Gohan calls Piccolo Mr. Piccolo.
Mr. Piccolo!
In the original Japanese, Gohan calls Piccolo Piccolo-san, right? That name suffix is important in
Maybe I'm just misremembering. I thought even in the dub, young Gohan did call Piccolo Mr. Piccolo, and then they changed, and then once they get to the Namek saga is when he starts just calling him Piccolo. Maybe I'm misremembering. For anyone that's watched the Funimation dub recently, which I've been watching the Funimation dub recently, but I was watching the Boost saga, so Gohan's already an adult by then. But for anybody that's watched the Funimation dub recently, did young Gohan, Kid Gohan, call Piccolo Mr. Piccolo? Maybe he didn't.
Japanese culture, whether you call somebody san or chan or kun, that is really, really important. And Gohan, being the polite kid that
okay, I
he
am
is,
right. Thank you.
Make sure to always call Piccolo Piccolo-san. He always has that name suffix as a sign of respect. It also highlights that special relationship between the two of them. And so when you have Gohan just call Piccolo Piccolo, to me, it loses a little something. And actually, the Spanish Latin American version has Gohan call Piccolo Señor Piccolo, right? And that's exactly because that.
I love, holy shit. Okay, so I've watched some of the other countries' dubs of Dragon Ball just because I enjoy, I want to hear what they sound like and whatnot. The Portuguese dub is fucking hilarious. But the idea of, like, little tiny Gohan saying, Señor Piccolo, like, is really fucking funny to me.
That's what's in the source material. That is how they adapted that aspect of Gohan and his relationship with Piccolo. So again, when you leave that out, it loses a little something. So I don't like that the Funimation dubs left that out, but I definitely like that the Abridged guys, the Team 4-Star guys, chose to have Gohan call Piccolo Mr. Piccolo. But I also like a lot of what they did with the English dubs of Dragon Ball Z. For example, there's a lot of jokes there that if you haven't seen the English dubs, you're just not really gonna get them. For example, what they do with the "It's over 9,000" line.
I had the scouter upside down. It's over 9,000.
I also really love what they did with the Hope of the Universe speech.
I don't think the over 9,000 joke from 4-Star is actually that good. I mean, we all know the lore at this point. It was supposed to be over 8,000. It's a mistranslation. Yeah, I get it. I don't think that's a particularly well-written joke. However, I do agree. I love what they did with the Hope of the Universe speech.
I am the hope of the omniverse. I am the light bulb in the darkness. I am the bacon in the fridge for all living things that cry out in hunger. I am the alpha and the omega. I am the terror that flaps in the night.
I am not a fan at all of the Hope of the Universe speech, and to me, this is just hilarious. It makes fun of that speech in a wonderful way, but it also does it in a way that lines up with this version of Goku. And then there's also the meta jokes. In other words, that's when they're having a little bit of fun with the Dragon Ball fandom. And perhaps the best example of this is the abridged version of the...
He probably changed the pitch in that. So here's my theory. He either changed the pitch in the clip to avoid copyright, because even though it's Team 4-Star, the visuals and whatnot could trigger YouTube's automatic copyright system, or he didn't pull that directly from Team 4-Star's channel. He pulled it from a re-upload. Again, that's just a guess. I don't know.
Broly movie, because this is where they have a little fun with that group of fans that is absolutely obsessed with Broly.
He is the legendary Super Saiyan.
I think Team 4-Star fundamentally misunderstands Broly, the Broly film, the character of Broly. Like, this is a very funny episode of DBZ Abridged. I think it's one of the worst in terms of understanding the source material.
Oh, that's so cool!
So again, there's a lot of really good stuff, and I enjoy the vast majority of Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Yes, there's some stuff that hasn't aged well, or that wasn't exactly my cup of tea from the very beginning. Even if I had watched it 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have found it all that funny, but that is the vast minority of the jokes. Almost all of the stuff I've enjoyed to varying degrees, and I think it was really well done. Okay, so what about the whole did it harm the Dragon Ball fandom thing? Well, to that I say no, not at all. As I said from the very beginning, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a parody.
Following is a non-profit fan.
No. Wait, did he just say it does not? Hey, Harwood Knights! Interview with a Vampire is a horror movie, you dork. It absolutely is not. In fact...
Shut up, bitch!
No, I'm joking. I love you, Nadia. Thank you so much, girlie. I appreciate it. 2 bangers from Nadia. Thank you. Did he just say that it didn't harm the fandom?
No, not at all. As I think it was really, really well done. Okay, so what about the whole did it harm the Dragon Ball fandom thing? Well, to that I say no, not at all.
He is wrong. He is absolutely wrong. Dragon Ball Abridged did harm the fandom. Now, did it harm the OG fans that grew up with the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and whatnot before Abridged came out? No, not at all. However, there is a contingent of new Dragon Ball fans. Daxnar says, okay, what exactly did you harm the fandom? I'm about to explain it. There are a contingent of new Dragon Ball fans that their first experience with Dragon Ball Z as an IP, their first exposure to Dragon Ball as a whole was Dragon Ball Z Abridged. So they have built most of their understanding of these characters and their wants, their needs, their lore, their history, all that, their motivations. They've built their understanding of these characters off of the way Abridged did them. And so as the Dragon Ball fandom grew and grew and grew, because DBZ Abridged did grow the fandom, because it did introduce people to DBZ that had never seen it before, it created people that do not actually understand the characters, understand the writing, understand the lore, which is why you've got so many people that hold, like not just incorrect opinions about Dragon Ball Z or the characters in it or whatnot, but like, they are just factually incorrect about certain characters. So yeah, I would say that harmed the fandom, because while it did make new fans who do love Dragon Ball, there's a contingent of people. I've talked with people that have done this. Shit, Paul Byersmith has sort of done this. That have never seen Dragon Ball Z. They went from Dragon Ball Z Abridged directly into Super. And so, and let's be real, Super, which was made in Japan, obviously, actually pays homage to Abridged in certain moments. Like Dragon Ball, the creators of Dragon Ball Super acknowledge Abridged as a thing, and they have paid homage to them at certain points. Shit, the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games actually have a few of the actors from Abridged. I think Kaiser Neko and Takahata 101 or whatever, as voice actors in the game. Like, Japan acknowledges existence. So, when you've got a contingent of people that grew up, and the first Dragon Ball thing they saw was Dragon Ball Z, then they go into Super, they don't actually have the correct basis for what these characters were in Dragon Ball and the original versions of Dragon Ball Z. So, yes, that does harm the fandom.
As I said from the very beginning, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a parody.
Following is a non-profit fan-based parody.
The Team 4-Star guy.
It is a parody, but since it is such a good parody, there is a blurred line for people that were not already familiar with the source material to not know when it is being a parody and when it is actually being accurate. Yes, it did, Daxnar. The whole close-up on Popo's face and whatnot, for example, as a gag in an episode of Super, like, the writers for Super, you can find it was translated in, like, a Japanese Famitsu article or something like that. Straight up, it said it was an Abridged reference. 100% said it was an Abridged reference. Again, you wouldn't get, you would not get the guys from Abridged. I'll find the source after the stream is over, Dax, or you can fucking Google it, one of the two. You wouldn't get the guys from Abridged voice acting in the fucking game if it wasn't acknowledged.
Guys are very, very clear about that. So if there's anybody out there that watches Dragon Ball Z Abridged and thinks, oh, this is an accurate recreation of what Dragon Ball is, well, that's on them.
No, it's not, because here's the thing. Some things about Abridged are accurate. In fact, more accurate than the original dub. For example, when they refer to Tin Shinhan as Tin Shinhan throughout the whole show, instead of what Funimation did, which is call him Tien space Shinhan, like, parody or not, that is a more accurate representation of the source material than what Funimation did. Again, this guy is inexcusably incorrect here.
Is on them for not understanding what a parody is. That is on them for lacking the critical thinking skills to think through this and think, okay, I get that this and this and this is based on Dragon Ball Z, but I also get that this and this and this is an exaggerated form of what we saw in the original Japanese, blah, 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 right? It takes a little bit of brain power to understand that. And apparently there are people out there that might not understand that. But that is not Team 4-Star's problem. I did
Yo, Irwin raid. Oh wait, Gamer Empress raid, right? Hold on. Sebrew says post Irwin solo raid plus Gamer Empress 40K. Woo! How you doing? How you doing, 40K Empress? So is this 2 raids at once? Did we just get 2 raids? First of all, thank you so much, 40K Empress. You absolute gem. You beautiful woman. You are truly a pillar of the community. You love to see it. For those of you that are just getting in here right now, for those of you that don't know what we're doing, we're watching a video titled, let's see, hold on a sec. Is DBZ Abridged better than the original DBZ? And we're sort of dissecting his argument one way or the other. There's not really a conclusion as of yet. In fact, I don't think he's laid out his premise very well. So I'm going to give my thoughts on it when this video is over. But yo, Empress Raid, thank you so much. Didn't Funimation make the original He-Man song video? If they did, I didn't know that. But that'd be awesome.
Video where I talk about how the Dragon Ball Z dubs harmed the Dragon Ball fandom. Well, that is a fair thing to say because...
Yes, I would also say the Dragon Ball Z dubs harmed the fandom. Like, it's not that, like, Abridged harmed the fandom, but the original English dubs didn't. No, you could make a very clear-cut argument that they both did. Like, Dragon Ball Z, the Funimation dub harmed the fandom because it fundamentally misunderstands the character of Goku. Like not only misunderstands, went out of its way to change the character of Goku because they didn't think that Goku as originally written would work for American television. So that harms the fandom. Absolutely. But then you've got Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which, as I explained earlier, was many people's first introduction to Dragon Ball Z in the modern era, which also made them fundamentally misunderstand certain of these characters. Yes, I 100% agree, Logan K. Dragon Ball Z is way better in Japanese. Absolutely.
They made changes to the source material, and whether it was implicitly or explicitly, they tried to pass it off as being the original Dragon Ball Z, when it is not. Those dubs are not an...
Okay. Daxnar says, this whole harming the fandom thing seems very hard to substantiate. Fandom just kind of exists. I don't know how you can harm it other than putting products out like Super. Dex, anytime there are rifts in a fan base, anytime you have a fan base that is not majority in agreement, collected upon themselves or whatnot, you are going to have that is going, anything that causes rifts or causes people to fracture is harm. Fracturing something is a negative, is a negative statement. Let's look at Star Wars as an example. Everyone that was a Star Wars fan when the original trilogy was released, specifically the original 2 films were released, agreed they were fans of it. And they all agreed it was a good product. They might have nitpicks or different dissections or analysis or whatnot, but Star Wars, A New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back, cohesively, the fans agreed were great. Now, Return of the Jedi comes out, and while there are Return of the Jedi detractors and whatnot, people think it's the weaker of the few, for the most part, the Star Wars community, the Star Wars fandom, all still colloquially agreed Star Wars is incredible, right? Then the prequels come out. Now, I'm a prequel fan, I'm a prequel defender. However, did the prequels harm the fandom? Yes, because the prequels fractured the fandom, and a fracture is a bad thing. So now you got people on 2 sides, don't like, do like. And then you have a third faction that comes in, which are people whose first experience with Star Wars is the prequels. So now you've got this third faction that might not know or doesn't know the original Star Wars because the first things they saw were the prequels. Again, that could be harmful depending on the direction that fandom takes based on this new information. Fandoms grow and evolve and change, and the bigger they get, the easier they are to harm because the more people there are in said fandom to fracture it. So it's not just about bad products coming out, it's about products coming out that make changes, good or bad, that cause rifts in the fandom. So it's not hard to substantiate whatsoever.
Accurate representation of what Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are. On the other hand, we have Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Again, that is a parody. The Team 4-Star guys never tried to pass that off as an accurate...
So if fandom isn't a monolith, it's inherently less healthy. Maybe I don't know. I enjoy the discussion of which stuff people like and don't like. I think that's all. But I didn't say it should be a monolith. No. Again, you're either putting words in my mouth because you don't want to be wrong, or if I'm going to be charitable and give you the benefit of the doubt, you just don't understand my argument. You don't understand what I'm saying. I did not say fandom need to be a monolith. I said that fandoms, as a majority, agree on something as a whole. Fandoms agree on something as a whole. The Star Wars fandom agreed that Star Wars was good. That overall it was a good product. They loved it. That's why they are fans. Like, you have a whole group of people. They're a fan of this thing. They might have their different gripes and nitpicks and find out there's things we like, things we don't like, and that's fine because those are lower on the tier list. But as a whole, they like Star Wars as a product. Then, once even more product is introduced and fan base splits, that is damaging. Like, that is inherently damaging. That's objectively damaging because now you have two different subsets of fans to try and cater your product to. Like, that is a bad thing in general. So yeah, harming a fan base or something harming its fandom, its fan base, is real because it creates different types of fans that are not congruent with one another at the base level that you now need to either try and cater to. You're gonna need to cater to one or the other, which is gonna make one group feel excluded. Feeling excluded is harmful, or you're going to need to try and make something that placates both, which is also difficult to do because you can't please everybody. So again, this is harm to a fandom. They don't need to be a monolith, absolutely not, but they do need to agree, fandom needs to agree on the base level of, is product good? Is IP good? And if they can't even agree that the IP or the product is good, then that's a bad thing. Like, Star Wars, again, is a perfect example of this, because at this point, we cannot agree on, is Star Wars good? Some people will say yes, some people will say no. Well, then we have to start breaking it down. Okay, well, these Star Wars are good, well, but these ones aren't. Okay, well, this is actually Star Wars. This isn't even Star Wars anymore. Once you start having to come up with different subsets and different arguments, different debates for an IP as a whole, because there's fractures in the fandom, well, that's a bad thing because people don't unilaterally agree IP is good, but here's our nitpicks for criticisms of things within said IP. No, that's also not what I said at all, Dax. I don't know if you're being intentionally obtuse or trying to be sarcastic, but that's not what I said. Okay, you just said I'm being a cheeky dick. I understand where you're coming from. Okay, thank you.
Retelling of the original source material. And anybody with half a brain can watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged and understand, oh, this isn't the source material. This is pretty over the top. This is a ridiculous comedic take on Dragon Ball Z. And yet there are some people out.
But it's not a ridiculous, I mean, it is a ridiculous comedic take on Dragon Ball Z. Obviously, yes, it is. But there are other things about Dragon Ball Z Abridged that, again, are source material accurate. And far more source material accurate than the Funimation dub, for example. So, like, I don't think it's fair to not give DBZ Abridged credit where it's due in what they did correctly to honor the source material and the spirit of Dragon Ball and the characters and the world that was built. Like, I think I honestly think this dude is doing a massive disservice to Abridged.
Out there that are really, really negative about Dragon Ball Z Abridged because, for example, it highlighted the whole Goku is a bad dad meme.
Wow, I'm sorry about your dad.
Which, again, this is one of the things I'm talking about. I don't have an issue with Dragon Ball Abridged doing this. It is funny as a joke because it's a hyper-exaggeration. But there are people that saw Dragon Ball Z Abridged, they take this joke as truth, and now there's a narrative out there that Goku is a bad dad, which he never was. Like, this whole Goku is a bad dad thing was never taken seriously in the Dragon Ball fandom until Abridged hyper-fixated on it and exaggerated it. Like, that is one of the things that did, to, in my opinion, harm the fan base, even though in isolation, the jokes are good jokes. Yeah, it was a meme. Schizo Sweets, it was a meme. Now it's accepted by a large contingent of the fandom as a fact instead of a meme, and that is harmful.
Oh, don't even get me started again.
Well, I assure you, if I ever have a son, I'll treat him better.
That was my joke. That was my joke. Every bad Goku joke is because of me. Every bad dad joke I pushed for. At no point did Scott go, hey guys, I got these bad Goku's a bad dad jokes here. Would you like them? I'm like, fantastic. Nah, it was me. Every day I ponied on up and I was like, oh, time for a bad dad joke, huh?
Yes, Dragon Ball Z Abridged highlighted that, but I'm pretty sure that was around far before Dragon Ball Z Abridged came out.
Okay, he is correct. It was around before he came out, but like I think it was Schizo Sweet said, while it was around, it was a meme. Nobody in the Dragon Ball community actually took it seriously, because if you read the manga or watch the Japanese translation or shit, even the Funimation dub, it's very clear that Goku is a loving, caring father who, at times, by all means, misunderstands the situation or maybe makes the wrong choice. But that doesn't make him a bad dad. It makes him flawed like all characters should be, because Goku, like any other character, is a flawed character. So the idea that the whole community knew it was a joke that he was a bad dad and that it wasn't true and wasn't accurate to his character, and then Abridged runs with it, exaggerates it to such a degree that now people actually believe he was a bad dad, that is harmful to the fan base.
I remember joking about that with my friends long before I ever watched Dragon Ball Z Abridged, because, again, I only watched it very recently, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we were joking about that before Dragon Ball Z Abridged even came out. So that was nothing new. And why is it nothing new? Because there are elements of that are in the source material, right? Goku is not the ideal dad by modern day societal conventions. He's a pretty bad dad in terms of that, right? He's not going out to earn a living. He's often out training instead of making sure that Gohan is doing what he's supposed to be doing, even though Gohan is such a good kid that he doesn't even need Goku. But my point here is that it's not a black and white thing, right? It all depends on what your definition of a bad dad is, what your definition of a good dad is, etc., and how much leeway you want to give Goku. But there are elements there in the source material that can be exaggerated for comedic effect, and that is what Dragon Ball Z Abridged did.
Gohan, are you okay? Do you need some juice? Did you get into that school you wanted?
Doesn't look like it.
They also exaggerated the whole Piccolo thing and Gohan and all this stuff.
Which, again, I actually think this was... I don't think this one is nearly as harmful as the Goku being a bad dad, but Piccolo being Gohan's, real dad. I also think, again, yes, there are people that held that opinion that, Piccolo is Gohan's, real dad, or the father Gohan never had or whatnot. Like, people held that opinion, and that's fair. Like Gohan has an intrinsic bond to Piccolo. There's a reason Gohan asked for clothes that match Piccolo's instead of his father's before the Cell games. But when DBZ Abridged over-exaggerates it to such a degree... Like, okay, here's a good way to put it. It is psychology. It is psychological fact that if you are told a lie enough, or if you tell yourself a lie enough, you believe that lie. So, when DBZ Abridged is over-exaggerating this Piccolo is Gohan's real dad joke over and over and over, it unintentionally reinforces that joke as actual truth. Now, is it going to happen to everybody? No, obviously not. But, like, culturally, it's going to happen to a contingent of the fan base, which, again, fractures the fan base because they are working with incorrect information, and that is harmful. I don't know how this guy can try and make an argument that it's not harmful to the fan base when there are aspects of it that just objectively are.
Because again, it's a parody. That's what you're supposed to do. You take those little flaws, you take those little curiosities that are in something, in the source material, and you amplify them to the point that they are pretty absurd or pretty out there. And because they did that, it's funny. As for the whole Dragon Ball Z Abridged is better than the source material and you should only watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged thing.
Okay, he says better than the source material here. Obviously fucking not. Like obviously Dragon Ball Z Abridged is not better than the... First of all, Dragon Ball Z Abridged does not work as a standalone comedy in at least half of its instances. Like, there's jokes that are going to be funny even if you've never seen Abridged. Or even if you've never seen the original, absolutely. But at least half of its other jokes and nuances and story beats rely on knowledge of the source material. So if that much of your project relies on the source material, it cannot be better than the source material. It can't, because it cannot exist on its own in a vacuum. So anyone that says it's better than the source material is retarded. However, earlier he was talking about the Funimation dub. So when he says source material, does he actually mean source material, or did he poorly choose his words and mean Funimation dub? Because if that's the case, again, I think there's an argument that Abridged is better than the Funimation dub. I'll give you guys my thoughts on this when this is over. I don't know if I want to give this guy that benefit of the doubt, though, because it doesn't seem like that's what he meant. We'll see.
Well, I'm sure that there's a portion of people that say those kinds of things that are just saying it to troll, but...
to be fair, no, not at all. Again, Paul Byersmith, the RL bestie, he truly... unless he's been joking with me for the last several years, he legit does think that Abridged is the superior version of Dragon Ball Z. Like, he actually... y'all can ask him next time he's in chat, but I'm almost positive he truly believes that, because he has told me that for years, and that'd be a really long con to keep up. Like, so there's at least one person I know in my real life that genuinely believes, unironically, that Dragon Ball Z Abridged is better than the original.
Yeah, there's probably a portion of people that actually believe these things. First of all, saying that Dragon Ball Z Abridged is better than the original Dragon Ball Z is an absolutely ridiculous statement.
Agreed.
To say that one is better than the other is to frame this as an objective truth, when you really can't do that. They're just...
Well, no, yes, you can do that. Like, you can talk about things that are objectively better than other things. Like, oh, this guy's bothering me. This guy's bothering me a lot. I'm just gonna let it slide. I'm just gonna give my thoughts. We've already been doing this for a while.
Two completely different products. Dragon Ball Z Abridged is great at comedy that appeals to the English-speaking Dragon Ball fandom.
But they're not two completely different products. One is a product that is wholly reliant on another product. Like, they both serve the same function, which is to entertain an audience through the story that is Dragon Ball. Like, that's like saying pens and pencils are two completely different products. They're not. They're actually very similar products that have differences, and they will have different functions. They serve the same function, but they have different strengths and weaknesses that make one or the other better for whatever your task is at the moment.
Dragon Ball Z is great at presenting a story that has appealed to millions and millions of people around the world, regardless of their culture and language. Each of them is great in their own way, but you can't just say that one is objectively better than the other.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can. If one of the products cannot exist in a vacuum on its own, if one of the products is inherently reliant on the other product to even exist, then the original product is the better product. Because product B can't exist or can't function without A. Like, yeah, so that obviously means one is better.
Kind of like saying a screwdriver is better than a hammer. Look, sometimes you need a screwdriver, sometimes you need a hammer.
No. Those don't serve the same function, though. That's a terrible analogy. My pen and pencil, or pencil and marker, or whatever I said, that analogy was absolutely a better analogy because they both serve the same function. Screwdrivers and hammers don't serve the same function.
They're just two completely different things that were designed for different purposes. And then in the case of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, it wouldn't even exist if the original Dragon Ball Z didn't exist. So if
Correct, which is what makes the original objectively better. Like, I don't think this guy understands what objectivity is. Yes, Cryptic Manga, Screwdriver and Drill would have been a much better comparison. You're entirely correct. But yeah, no. Because one is wholly reliant on the other, wholly reliant on it, the original must be the better product. Because you cannot have the second product at all without the first one.
If anybody ever says to you, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is better than Dragon Ball Z, don't even bother engaging with them. You're just going to end up wasting your time because that is an unintelligent and pointless thing to say. And then the whole you should only watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged thing is absolute nonsense. In order to enjoy Dragon Ball Z Abridged to its fullest, you have to have a solid understanding of the source material.
Finally, he said something correct. Goddamn.
And you have to be familiar with the English dubs of Dragon Ball Z, and you have to have some understanding of the Dragon Ball fandom. If you lack any of these, well, some jokes are going to go over your head. The fact that Team 4-Star really packed Dragon Ball Z Abridged with all kinds of references and jokes that harken back to not just the source material, but also Toriyama interviews and those ridiculous things that we got in the dub, etc., really shows that, one, they really understand the Dragon Ball fandom and everything around it, but also they really care about the source material. So I'm 100% sure that they would never agree with the statement that you should only watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged. If you do that...
I mean, literally every episode starts with, please support the official release. So yeah, obviously they wouldn't. Sorry, that was just a really stupid statement on his part.
You're going to miss out twice as much because you're going to miss out on the incredible story that Toriyama told, and you're going to miss out on a lot of the jokes that Team 4-Star included in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. So if you're like me and for whatever reason you just never got around to watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged, I recommend checking it out. It is an enjoyable experience. Yes, not every joke is a home run, but when is every joke a home run, right? Like, humor, again, is very subjective, so some jokes aren't going to work for you, but there's a lot of really good stuff there that you will appreciate if you've watched the source material. So that is the key point. Watch the source material first, and then Dragon Ball Z Abridged can be a dessert to enjoy Dragon Ball Z one more time, but from a comedic perspective. And if you haven't already, I recommend checking out the commentary version that the Team 4-Star guys did. That was really fun. And again, it offers a lot of insight into the humor, the jokes, the reasoning for why they did what they did. Again, there's a lot of stuff there that might go over your head if you're not familiar with, for example, the English dubs of Dragon Ball Z. And it's nice to have them explain it to you, or some of the musical references, etc., etc. There's a lot of stuff in Dragon Ball Z Abridged, so I really, really recommend checking out the commentary. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you hate Dragon Ball Z Abridged? Do you love it? What's your favorite joke? What's your least favorite joke? Drop me some comments, like, and subscribe, because I've got another video coming very soon, so you don't want to miss out on that. See you in the next one.
So, alright, Daxnar says, overall, I'm fine with this video. It doesn't really say anything I didn't already know. I'm not fine with this video. I'm not fine with this video at all. That being said, I will say that I'm interested in more of this guy's content, because even though I think that this was a bad video, I think that he might have something there, maybe a different video that could be worth dissecting or analyzing in the future. But I do think this is a bad video, and here's why I think this is a bad video, Dax, and obviously everybody else. The question is DBZ Abridged better than original DBZ? The question he posed as the title of this video, I do not think he adequately answers, because again, at no point does he actually give his statement on what he considers original DBZ. Like, is he referring to the manga, the original Japanese anime, the Funimation dub, the Ocean dub. He never even brought up the Ocean dub for one. However, he says source material at certain other points, whereas he says Funimation dub at some points in the video. He never even states what the original is in context of his thesis statement for this video, which I think is bad. Like that's just a bad way to do a video. So as for my thoughts on not just the video but the question, as far as the video goes, he made some good points in terms of why Abridged works. I don't think he made any points about why Abridged doesn't work, which he absolutely should have done to actually make a cohesive argument. You need pros and cons. All he said in terms of cons were some of the jokes don't work. To be fair, that's not a con for Abridged. That is a byproduct of comedy, because not every joke is going to work. So he didn't say anything that would have been specific to Abridged as a con that you couldn't apply to anything else comedically. So yeah, this video honestly is a really weak sauce video. Now, as for my thoughts as to what is DBZ better than the original, is Abridged better than the original DBZ? Obviously, DBZ Abridged is not better than manga. Obviously, DBZ Abridged is not better than the Japanese dub of Dragon Ball Z. I don't think it's fair to talk about the Ocean dub because they never completed their run of Dragon Ball Z, even though the Ocean dub is really good. So now let's talk about the Funimation dub. Is Dragon Ball Z Abridged better than the Funimation dub? Without making an entire video on this myself, which to be fair, I probably could do, and frankly, no offense, but could probably do better than this guy, I think that there's an argument for it, and here is why, and I might need to actually sit here and make this argument like in a video format, or even just make it myself. Funimation, especially in its early days, did not value the source material, did not adequately translate the source material, and when we're talking about the source material here, I am talking about not just the manga, although of course, yes, the manga, but more specifically, the Japanese version of DBZ. Because you gotta remember, the Japanese version of DBZ took liberties with the manga. Obviously, the Japanese version of DBZ as an anime took liberties with the manga, whether it be filler, anything to that effect. So when comparing the Funimation dub of DBZ, you gotta compare it to the Funimation sub, the Japanese sub version that is directly Japanese. The English Funimation dub changes and alters the original anime in ways that fundamentally change the core of the show or its core characters. So that is an automatic strike against the Funimation dub. In that regard, the early episodes of Abridged don't really encapsulate what Dragon Ball Z is very well. It's more of a comedy show first and foremost. However, I would argue that by the time DBZ Abridged gets to Namek, it starts actually really taking the heart and soul and characters of Dragon Ball Z seriously and making the jokes not just funny, but applies to the central character dynamics of the originally written characters. And because of the jokes are done like that, many of the characters in Abridged are actually closer to their Japanese counterparts than Funimation's versions of these characters. Yamcha, for example, is, very much in line with the Japanese version of Yamcha more than the Funimation version. Goku, absolutely more in line with the Japanese version of Goku than with the English Funimation version of Goku. Vegeta probably is about the same. Vegeta, to my memory, doesn't actually suffer from a whole lot of the same changes as characters like Goku and Yamcha. I don't really think Tien does either, minus the name change from Tin Shinhan to Tien Shinhan. So in that regard, I would say that, yeah, when you put everything together, the understanding of the source material, the musical cues, the way it actually tells the Dragon Ball story, I might be inclined to believe Abridged is better than Funimation. I'd still have to really sit and think about it, and I would need to do like a back-to-back watch of both and like take notes and assessments. But off the top of my head, I would be willing to actually accept that, yes, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a better adaptation than the Funimation dub. Bottom line, the Shin Kikoho scene in Abridged is peak fire. I do love the Shin Kikoho scene. That's very true. But guys, with that being said, this has been a great video. I can't say that, or it's been a great reaction, I should say. I don't think it was a great video, but if you want to support the original YouTuber, by all means, I will drop the video link in the chat. These have been my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Absolutely hit that subscribe button. Follow me on X, Instagram, and this all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise. Just in case I clip this into a video, we actually are going to wrap up the stream now, but I might clip this into a video for the channel, so we'll see. That being said, yes, thank you, Dax. I was about to plug that. So subscribe to the gaming channel if you'd be so kind, because we'll be going live on the gaming channel later tonight. Yep, second stream, Glitch in Paradise. We will be doing a ROM hack that combines Sonic Adventure and Super Mario 64. We're going to see if Mario can survive Sonic Adventure, Sonic's greatest trial, or one of his greatest trials. I played one level of it just to make sure the ROM hack was functional. It is, so this will be an entirely new first-time experience for me, minus the one level I tried just to see if it would work. So yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. Check out the gaming channel. That will be immediately after Hold My DualShock Fan Rant Thursday. So Fan Rant Thursday usually ends around 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. If you watch Hold My DualShock, which of course I'll be on the show tonight, they are streaming tonight, right? They didn't cancel. You know what? I should probably check that real quick. Let's just make sure they're actually streaming, because for whatever reason, like if they're not streaming, I'm gonna sound like a real retard here. All right, first of all, let's add this to my watch later real quick, because that could be good for tomorrow. Okay, Hold My DualShock. They have, all right, Interstellar Watch Party. Maybe they haven't set it up. Point is, usually Hold My DualShock streams at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm a regular on that show. I adore Katie and Andy. They're great. If you have not subbed to them, absolutely sub to them. Check out the stream. Oh, Dax already put it in there. Dax, you're a gem. I was literally just about to drop the link. Good job, buddy. Anyway, so assuming that they stream tonight, it will be immediately following their stream. Beyond that, if they don't stream tonight, I'll be streaming around 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, the Mario 64 Sonic Adventure ROM hack on, again, this is not on this channel. It is on my new gaming channel, Glitch in Paradise. Dax dropped that up there earlier. So I'll see you guys there tonight. Beyond that, I released a video today about about some false controversy behind the Wu Chang Fallen Feathers game. Definitely check out that video if you've not already. As well as check out my Joey Swole video from yesterday. Tomorrow is Friday, so I will see you all for Neon Leon. We do not have a lunch hour show. Instead, we have the nighttime show, the late night show, Neon Leon. Don't know if it's going to be solo or with a guest, one of the two. Beyond that, I will see you all there. Niet show, Badger, the whole nine. Point is, check out the videos, check out the streams. I appreciate everything all y'all done for me. Today is the last stream of July. Let's kick August off with a strong start tomorrow, and let's find out who we are raiding into. Let's set up a raid right now. We'll do it live. Let's see. Content. Live. All right. Let's see who's worth rating. We've got Enzo. Is it? Holy shit. All right, guys. Guess we're rating Enzo. Let's do it. So with all that being said, I just want to say thank you so much to all those of you who donated. If you did not donate, that's A-okay, guys. Appreciate you being here. But if you did donate, absolutely means the world to me because this is literally my job, and you guys are what keep me afloat, and I truly appreciate that. I could not do this without you. Beyond that, again, check out the videos. Stick around for the raid. Hop in once the stream is over. Type Vital Idol Raid in Enzo's stream. And until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.